Chapter 433. Lu Chen focused on hunting foxes first. The foxes here were snow foxes, fire foxes, and charm foxes. There were elites or bosses with multiple tails, but there wouldn't be more than 3. Lu Chen deliberately lowered the damage and looked at the foxes' talents. The most important talent of these foxes was evasion. To be precise, when they attacked, they would cause the attacker to hallucinate for a short period of time, causing the normal attack to miss. The probability wasn't very high, about 1 in 10. But the scariest thing was that once they evaded, Lu Chen's entire 5-hit combo would be completely evaded. Lu Chen thought about this problem. Although the combo consisted of several attacks, perhaps Zhou judgment was that no matter how many combo attacks there were, they were all just one attack. Once they evaded, they would evade all the combo attacks included in this attack. Of course, the specific situation still required the Fox Demon bloodline. 1,000 Fox Demons were quickly collected, and Lu Chen exchanged for the Fox Demon bloodline. Fox Demon bloodline, first job advancement, rank 0 12% chance to cause the enemy's vision to distort through charm, thereby evading the enemy's normal attack, including all the passive effects of this attack. 1% chance to evade the enemy's skills. TSK This talent is quite strong. It can even evade skills. This is definitely possible. Let's see what other talents the wild monsters have first, then decide which to merge with and which to replace. For 2 weeks, Lu Chen had been wandering around the Monster Mountain range, constantly collecting new bloodlines. Even if these bloodlines couldn't be used temporarily, as long as he kept them, they could be used in the future when he rose in stars. On this day, Lu Chen opened the lightless sky flame pillar and the black coffin dead zone, sitting there and studying bloodlines. There were a large number of clones around, and a group of battle pets were cleaning up the battlefield. Lu Chen sadly realized that his level was no longer up to him. Whether he fought monsters or slacked off, it didn't have much effect on his level. His focus was still on the bloodlines of the 5 immortals. Fox, rat, weasel, hedgehog, snake. Other than the snake venom he had, the remaining 4 were all new. The Fox Demon bloodline increases evasion, the Rat Demon bloodline steals the opponent's attack, the Weasel Demon bloodline is a Weasel Demon bloodline, attacks break the opponent's defense, the Hedgehog Demon bloodline reflects damage. The damage reflection seems to be the best and can be stacked with my profound armor, but the damage reflection is only effective against close-range attacks. It has no effect against long-range attacks and skills. In reality, the effect is not as good as I thought. Lu Chen carefully analyzed the bloodlines. Forget it, I'll use the Fox Demon first. Although the dodging rate isn't too high, it can definitely change the outcome of the battle if I can dodge it once in the future. Fusing with the Fox Demon bloodline. Upgrade to Tier 1 and Tier 2. Fox Demon bloodline, first job transition, second rank 16% chance of dodging an enemy's normal attack, including all passive effects attached to the attack, 2% chance of dodging an enemy's technique, 2% chance. I'll wear it first. After dealing with the new talent, Lu Chen upgraded the talent in his hands again. The materials he had now could upgrade 3 talents. He chose the Werewolf bloodline's critical hit, the Flower Demon bloodline's vision enhancement, and the Vengeful Spirit bloodline's attack reduction. At this point, Lu Chen had temporarily settled all his talents. Werewolf bloodline, Snake Demon bloodline, Venomous Spider bloodline, Succubus bloodline, Tiger Demon bloodline, Monkey Demon bloodline, Corpse Demon bloodline, Vengeful Spirit bloodline, Bat Demon bloodline, Bear Demon bloodline, Fox Demon bloodline, 11 major systems. Werewolf bloodline, Tiger Demon, Succubus bloodline, Vengeful Spirit bloodline, Tiger Demon, and Bat Demon were all Tier 1 and Tier 2 talents, while the other 5 were Tier 9 talents. After 2 weeks, Lu Chen was already level 100. Lu Chen focused on his other hidden ID. Money can reach the heavens, Demon Sovereign's Eye, Tiger's Courage and Dragon's Might, Silent Moon Vanguard, Take the Top, capture the tiger, blood pool vanguard, elite, especially strong, especially agile, especially muscular no leader, first transformation demonized boss, damn, it's so long. Oh right, after fusing with the new bloodline, take a look at my form. After fusing with the bear demon, there aren't many changes, just that my chest muscles have doubled in size. I don't know what will happen after fusing with the fox. I hope it won't be too big. Lu Chen took off his human skin. There weren't many changes to the demon, just that 2 furry ears grew on top of his head, growing on top of his mighty and domineering horns. Damn! Fox ears. Damn it, why are they so feminine? It's completely different from my style. Lu Chen was feeling depressed, but when he turned his head, he found that he had an additional fox tail. This really drove him crazy. Such a mighty and domineering demon with a pair of furry ears and a furry tail. This felt like a pair of muscular men and women's clothing. Damn it. Why did fusing with a fox cause 2 changes? Damn it. Lu Chen missed Lu Yi too much. He hoped that he could kill the spiritual martial apothecary as soon as possible. Then, he should have a chance to see Lu Yi again. By then, he would definitely ask her to throw him into her alchemy furnace to refine him. After letting out a long sigh, Lu Chen realized that he couldn't be handsome for more than 3 seconds. Finally, he stepped on the path to becoming uglier and uglier. I really shouldn't have fused with it. If I continue to fuse with it endlessly, what kind of monster will I become in the end? Lu Chen had no choice. He had changed into a human skin, and he didn't want anyone to see his current demon form. Now that he had reached level 100 and obtained the talent bloodline, it was time for Lu Chen to leave this place. Let's go. Next stop, Fallen Immortal Plains. The mountain man is on that map. I just don't know if that guy will find another hidden place to hide. All the way to the north, crossing over many mountains, the front suddenly became a flat land. Lu Chen successfully found the map stone tablet. Fallen Immortal Plains, the stars fell into the jade plate, and the immortals fell here. Legend has it that this is the site of the War of the 10,000 Immortals. The stars have changed, and time has passed. The immortals left without a trace, but they attracted the immortals. Lu Chen was staring at the words on the stone tablet in a daze. Was this the site of the War of the 10,000 Immortals? Did the War of the 10,000 Immortals really exist? Were those people really immortals, or were they itinerant immortals like Mu Xian? Or were they both? Solipsistic, you're finally here. I've been waiting for you for a long time. Suddenly, a voice came from behind him. Lu Chen frowned slightly and turned around. This person was actually the mountain man. It's you. You've been waiting for me. Don't get me wrong. I'm not interested in men. The mountain man wore a bamboo hat. At first glance, he looked like an expert, but when he spoke, he was not serious. It was similar to the first time they met. Lu Chen was speechless. I didn't think that, hee, follow me. Lu Chen followed him. When they arrived at a remote thatched cottage, the mountain man poured Lu Chen a cup of tea. What kind of tea? Is it 50 spiritual energy per cup? Looks like you've drunk it before. The mountain man laughed. With your attributes, 50 spiritual energy is nothing. Lu Chen smiled sinisterly. Wrong. 50 spiritual energy is very important. Then, he drank it in one gulp. Plus 50 spiritual energy. Another cup. Lu Chen wiped his mouth. I'm not bragging, but I can drink until you go bankrupt. Chapter 434. How did you know I would come? Lu Chen asked as he sipped his tea. The mountain man took off his bamboo hat and placed it on the stone table. He smiled at Lu Chen. You defeated Poison Master Immortal in the arena and asked for my whereabouts. I knew you would come to find me. Lu Chen nodded and refilled his cup. There wasn't much tea in the teapot. Lu Chen drank 3 cups and it was gone. This guy was the same as Mu Xian. They were both stingy. Every time, they would only bring half a pot of tea to entertain people. After 3 rounds of tea, the mountain man smiled. Hey, don't just drink tea. Are you going to open the higher difficulty? Yes. I want to open the purgatory difficulty. Tell me, what's the mission? Mission? Ha ha ha, I don't need a mission. I just need you to agree to one of my requests. Lu Chen frowned and looked at the mountain man. You don't need a mission. The mountain man's smile didn't change. I was going to do a mission. But after you defeated Green Wolf, I decided to cancel these meaningless things. How can it be meaningless? You can get rewards by doing missions. I got seed from that mission. It doesn't matter. Even if there's no mission, the reward will still be given. Lu Chen stopped smiling. Obviously, this request wasn't so easy to accept. What is it? Fight with me. Ah. Lu Chen was shocked. Lu Chen wasn't sure how strong the mountain man was, but he was at least on the same level as Mu Xian. In other words, the mountain man's strength was at least an itinerant immortal. Could he win against an itinerant immortal? Little guy, don't be nervous. I'm just itching to fight you. It's boring to do nothing in the second layer of heaven. You can accompany me for some exercise. It doesn't matter if you win or lose. I'll give you a gift in the end. It shouldn't be worse than the hell and purgatory difficulty missions. Lu Chen's expression was serious. What's the difficulty of the game after the battle? Purgatory. Lu Chen nodded. As long as there was a reward, it didn't matter if he did the mission or not. Besides, he didn't need to win this battle. It was purely a competition. Sure. Lu Chen's lips curled up slightly. To be honest, I've long wanted to experience just how strong an expert like you is. The man from the mountain smiled. I don't think you'll be disappointed. With that, the man in the mountain waved his hand, and a sealed environment was formed within 10,000 meters. No one will be watching this battle. You don't have to hold back. Show me your full strength. The mountain man stood up and arrived at the center of the plain in the blink of an eye. Let me see what your upper limit is. Lu Chen narrowed his eyes slightly. Did this person want to see the upper limit of his combat strength? To be honest, he had never calculated it himself. But one thing was for sure. Ever since he had reached the second heaven, no one was worthy of his full strength. The tiger dragon and green wolf were the same. A person who could make him go all out could only make Lu Chen feel excited. Lu Chen also stood up and walked towards the fallen immortal plane, standing in front of the mountain people. You're not going to use your demon transformation. Lu Chen shook his head gloomily. If this guy saw his new appearance, he would probably be laughed at. Whether or not I can see the demon transformation depends on whether you have the strength to do so. Hee, you'll know soon enough. Be careful, I won't go easy on you next. Me too. Both of them stopped smiling at the same time. Outside the fallen immortal plane, a group of people was standing in front of the map tablet. We're finally here. Let's go in. Huh? Why can't we go in? There seems to be a barrier. Is it the mountain protection array? I've never heard of the fallen immortal plane that we can't enter. These people tried several times but still couldn't enter the fallen immortal plane. Maybe it's maintenance. Let's go and kill some monsters first. We'll come back later. 3 hours later. In the Galaxy Server District 19, all the players received a system notification. Player Solipsistic represents all the players in District 19 to increase the difficulty of the game to Hell mode. What? Hell mode? It's that guy again. We're being represented by that guy again. Player Solipsistic represents all the players in District 19 to increase the difficulty of the game to the highest difficulty, Hell Mode. Damn! What? Hell Mode. There's even a Purgatory tier. Is there a mistake? Why are there two announcements at the same time? It can't be that fast. It's over. It's really Hell Mode. Our team was killed by a monster that was 4 levels lower than us. Instant kill. The real Hell Mode is here. From now on, this second heaven will become the real Hell Mode. Does anyone know how to change servers? Can anyone tell me? I can't take it anymore. I want to change servers. Change my ass. This is the Galaxy server. How can you change servers? You can't change servers for the rest of your life. Of course, there were a lot of people who paid attention to the PvP arena. They knew that there was no lack of super strong players in Hell Mode in other servers. However, those who came out of the Advanced Mode server were extremely strong. It was inevitable. Only by surviving in a difficult environment would one have the chance to become stronger than others. In front of the door of life and death, the 5 people from the Wood Mansion who were preparing to clear the dungeon stopped and looked at each other. He really increased the difficulty of the game to Hell Mode. That lunatic. Sigh, this is great. I thought that this training would be easier. Now, it has become the most miserable team in the family. Xiao Tian smiled. Actually, it's a good thing. Only by rushing to the third heaven without relying on the family's power can we shut the others up. Jiao Er looked at the sky in the north. Did that guy unlock Purgatory? Nothing could stop him. That meant that he might be going to complete the last mission of the second heaven soon. Spiritual Martial Apothecary. A super heavenly domain boss that most people didn't have the chance to see. Could he win this time? The core team of the Wild Waves team killed the monsters in front of them and surrounded Ling Nuo. Nuo, the guild leader, has increased the difficulty of the game. Luckily, we were prepared and didn't panic just now. Ling Nuo, Ning Xuang, and Lui looked at the sky above the forest in the north. They didn't know where that person was now. Hell Mode is beneficial for us to become stronger. This is an opportunity for us. Ling Nuo took a deep breath and said to everyone, continue to level up. We must rely on ourselves to rise in this Hell Mode world. Okay. We've been prepared for a long time. I want to find that irresponsible master in the third heaven. Humph. Yes, rely on ourselves. No more relying on Mad God, Fallen Immortal Planes. Both of their health points had recovered to full. Lu Chen took a deep breath and looked at the mountain man opposite him. You didn't disappoint me. The mountain man smiled. You have also far exceeded my expectations. You're going to find Spiritual Martial Apothecary next, right? Lu Chen nodded. I have to do this quest. I have to find Lui. Yes, that guy is very strong. You might not be able to defeat him. Lu Chen didn't say anything. This is my gift to you. The mountain man threw 2 items to Lu Chen. Immortal Weapon, Staff of Xitigarbha, Heavenly Technique, Buddha's Salvation, a Monk's Technique and Weapon. Lu Chen looked at the mountain man in surprise. What's so strange about that? You have all classes. The mountain man smiled. Remember, you have to be very careful when fighting Spiritual Martial Apothecary. Because if you lose, you might really return to the first heaven. He has such a skill. Lu Chen narrowed his eyes. Okay, thanks. Chapter 435. After the battle with the mountain man, Solipsistic activated the Solipsistic difficulty. At the same time, Solipsistic disappeared. A month later, people began to adapt to the Purgatory difficulty. More teams had to find allies to help them through the difficulties. Due to the sudden increase in difficulty, the battles in the second heaven seemed to have ceased. Everyone was busy adapting to the new difficulty as soon as possible. The bounty hunter group hadn't had any business for a long time. There were fewer and fewer rich people in the district, so their business naturally became bleak. It was worth mentioning that from the increase in difficulty to the hard difficulty and then to the purgatory difficulty, the player's living space was getting smaller and smaller. However, it stimulated the development of life skills. Potioneering, refining, fishing, cooking, talisman crafting, and other professions became important ways to earn money. However, under the super difficulty, the drop rate was also more terrifying than ever before. The quality of the dropped equipment was also greatly improved. The Radiant Moon werewolves could drop dark gold firearms. At the same time, the players on Earth quietly developed under the increased difficulty of the game. On one hand, although the difficulty of the game increased, they still had Lu Chen's personal dungeon. The difficulty of the dungeon seemed to be independent of the system, and it had become a training ground. On the other hand, Green Wolf had indeed been farmed to level 1. With so many people farming him, it was already good that he didn't get into the negatives. His super powerful equipment was taken by the Earth Alliance. The strongest among them was the Sanqing sword. It was said that there was a huge dispute within the Earth Alliance over the ownership of this set of equipment. In the end, it was decided that the strongest players in the main forces would compete for the equipment dropped by Green Wolf. This time, Stardust, Handsome, Sheik, Lu Yi, Ning Xuang, and the others had become the strongest competitors. After all, Lu Chen had personally trained them before. Wild Wave's level was now several levels higher than all the other players on Earth. With the equipment that Jiu Air gave them, they were like a tiger that had grown wings. After more than a year of development, Wild Waves, which used to be a ragtag team, had finally become one of the strongest guilds in the world. A month later, at the finals of the tournament, Wild Waves and the others were competing in different venues. Sister Noah, Brother Blackhole won easily. That set of pauldrons is already ours. 10 Steps came back to report the good news. Lang Noah nodded. 10 Steps sighed. Our guild has already snatched 2 pieces of equipment. Ah, I never thought that we would be so strong now. Floral Fragrance slapped 10 Steps step heavily. Are you stupid? Our guild is already very strong. 10 Steps scratched his head and smiled embarrassedly. Hey, I was just lamenting. We used to be bullied by friendship every day. Lang Noah smiled slightly. That's right. But she didn't know why, but after the guild became stronger, she wasn't as happy as she had imagined. She still remembered the time when the president asked her with a smile, "Were you bullied?" She still couldn't forget how touched she was at that time. The guild was getting stronger and stronger, but the guild leader was getting further and further away. If she could, she would rather go back to the beginning. 10 Steps, tell me the truth. Do you blame the president? Thinking of that person, Lang Noah looked at 10 Steps. Strange boss. How was that possible? We all know what kind of person boss is. When he stabbed out with his sword, I already understood. 10 Steps stopped smiling. It's just that, ever since that sword strike, I had a feeling that the guild leader might not come back to see us. The atmosphere was somewhat heavy. After a long time, Hua Xiang sighed and looked at the plains behind her. Do you still remember the first time you met the president? We thought he would be killed by wild monsters. Everything seems to have happened yesterday. But from now on, the president will have to challenge even more unpredictable and powerful enemies alone. That's right. Boss has been in the purgatory mode for a month. Why hasn't he gone to the third heaven domain? Is there no announcement for going to the third heaven domain? There is an announcement, but it's only for the players in the world. Yeah, it's been a month. Why hasn't he gone? At the border of the fallen immortal plains, there were mountains. Beyond the mountains, there was an endless ocean. Lu Chen didn't know whether it was an ocean or a huge river like the River of Forgetfulness. In the middle of the steep mountain peak, a wide river with rapid flow fell straight down, forming a spectacular waterfall. Halfway up the mountain near the waterfall, there was a person sitting on a flat rock protruding out of the mountain. Behind him, a group of divine beast cubs and rare pets were playing around. But these couldn't disturb that person's cultivation. This person was Lu Chen. After the battle with the mountain people, he didn't go directly to the spiritual martial apothecary. If the mountain people said that person was very strong, then he was definitely very strong. During this period of time, he had been cultivating his cultivation method here. One was the 3 transformations of gods and demons, and the other was the newly obtained Buddha saves all lives. The little guys usually went to the mountains to kill monsters to help Lu Chen level up. When they were tired, they would return to Lu Chen to rest. Now was their time to rest. This cultivation lasted from morning to late at night. This cultivation had been going on for a month, and it would continue. But people needed to rest. Late at night, Lu Chen opened his eyes slightly and looked back. The army members were still keeping watch, but the little guys were already asleep. Lu Chen smiled and shook his head. He stood up and stretched his arms and legs. The second transformation is good enough. There's still the third transformation, Buddha saves all lives. Damn. It's still a few months. Damn, it takes a few months to learn a skill. Are all heaven-level skills so crazy? Forget it. I'm going to level up anyway. There's no need to rush. After sitting for a long time, he needed to move. The 3 transformations of gods and demons didn't need to be practiced. They were all skills that added attributes. Buddha saves all lives only had 1 move, so it didn't need to be practiced. On the other hand, Lu Chen didn't have the chance to study Phantom Shadows. There were 3 moves in Phantom Shadows. The first move, Ghost Parade, created a large number of illusions. He had already used this move in the battle with Qin Lang. But the power of Phantom Shadows didn't lie in creating a large number of illusions. Phantom Shadows alone couldn't be considered an advanced Earth-level movement skill. The second move, Phantom Shadow Descent. His real body could appear in any of the illusions. From the second move onward, the power of Phantom Shadows was truly displayed. There were 300 illusions. As long as the illusions still existed, he could appear in any of them. Phantom Shadows moved very quickly. After appearing, it was even harder to catch them. The third move, Ghost Possession. All the illusions created before could transform into other people's appearances and entangle the enemy. They ignored evasion methods such as movement and clones. The illusions themselves didn't attack. They were only afraid of Heaven's wrath attacks. At the same time, the user could still appear in any of the illusions. After appearing, the Ghost Possession effect would disappear. Ghost Possession was the essence of Phantom Shadows. With 300 Ghost Possession, he could appear in any of them. This meant that Lu Chen had 300 chances to get close. Anyone who got close to Lu Chen knew that if this guy got close to them, it was almost as if they could prepare to return to the reincarnation realm. I need to practice this skill more. After saying that, Lu Chen directly activated the skill. Beside the uninhabited waterfall, hundreds of ghosts instantly appeared. Then, Lu Chen quickly appeared. Chapter 436. 2 months later, the players tenaciously adapted to the purgatory difficulty. More and more teams in the wild were trying to hunt a monster. One had to admit that humans had a lot of potential. 3 months later, the quiet 19th district began to become active again. Teams could already be seen fighting in the wild. 4 months, 5 months. Half a year later, the players in the 19th district finally fully adapted to the purgatory difficulty. At this time, many people's equipment had been upgraded. The overall strength of the 19th district had increased a lot after this disaster. However, people seem to have forgotten that there was still one person who said that he wanted to defeat the super boss in the purgatory difficulty. The heavenly boss that no one wanted to face, Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary. Even the people from the major factions were not willing to raise the difficulty of the game to purgatory level. The reason was probably related to that terrifying existence. On this day, in the depths of the fallen immortal plane, someone saw a 9-winged celestial dragon flying out from the mountains. In the sky, above the clouds, the 9-winged celestial dragon was domineering. It roared and flashed past. Although people could not see the figure on the 9-winged celestial dragon, wherever the 9-winged celestial dragon passed, divine beasts, monsters, mutated beasts, and magic treasure mounts were forced to surrender. Only one person had such a domineering mount. Damn, this is too much. I have a dark gold mount too. Why did it make way for him? He's back. It's been half a year. He's going to. Do you still need to ask? The only place that's attractive to him is the second heaven. The Tower of Babel. Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary. He's going to challenge the Tower of Babel. Quick, go offline and watch the live stream. The news spread like wildfire in the 19th district. Not only in the 19th district, but also through the heart-refining courtyard, the news quickly spread among many human galaxies. Earth Village. Mad God appeared. He's going to challenge the Tower of Babel. Let's watch the live stream. You're still calling him Mad God? Has he forgotten all about us? But, we still have to see how strong he has become. The Purgatory difficulty boss. The second heaven players said that we can only hope that he'll be the first to defeat the boss. Only by lowering the boss's attributes can we have hope to defeat it in the future. Stop talking nonsense and log off. Usually, there would be a sea of people here, but suddenly, the number of online players dropped sharply. There were not even a few people in sight. Heart Refinement Courtyard. The boss still has half of its health left. Hey, Solipsistic is going to challenge the Heaven Domain boss. Someone saw him heading towards the Tower of Babel. Really? This. I'm sorry, but it's fine if we don't fight this boss. We have to watch the live stream. I want to see if he's as strong as the legends say. Group 7. After Sengoku Yenran got the news, she was stunned. He's gone. He then quickly went offline. The 5 members of the Wood Mansion's team were registering for the Azura Arena. Right now, the most popular match is. The ticket taker was checking the information. At this moment, Xiao Tian suddenly went offline for a short while before quickly returning to normal. Solipsistic has appeared. He's going to challenge Tong Tian Tower. TSK then hurry up and go offline. Xiao Tian nodded and said to the ticket seller, Senior, I'm sorry, but we won't be challenging it for now. We have a friend who wants to challenge Tong Tian Tower, and we want to watch the live broadcast. Solipsistic. The ticket taker frowned as the image of that silly kid appeared in his mind. He's your friend? Yes. Xiao Tian smiled. As a member of the Wood Mansion, he obviously knew that the person who was talking to them was not an NPC. His attitude was very humble. The old man smiled and shook his head. I didn't expect that guy to be so strong. Back then, I gave him a lot of advice, and that kid listened more seriously than anyone else. Anyway, if he could save some energy, he definitely wouldn't waste any energy, a purgatory difficulty boss. That kid should have met that guy. The 5 members of the Wood Mansion had already gone offline. The ticket taker thought for a while and decided that since no one was coming, he might as well quit for once. At most, he would lose some achievement points. The mountain man drank a cup of tea in front of his straw hut and was slightly lost in thought. Kid, you're out of the mountain. Hee, let me see how strong you've become. Then, he disappeared in a flash. District 2, District 49, District 44, the Python Beast King, Sunset Master and Disciple, Panga Force King, and many others, no matter what they were doing, quickly put down what they were doing and went offline. That person was going to challenge the Purgatory Tower of Babel. There was nothing more important than this. In the sky, Lu Chen stood on the dragon's head and looked down at the land. Was there a level 80 main city in front of him? Further ahead, among the mountains, there was a towering tower that pierced the sky. Lu Chen's heart was as calm as still water as he looked at the huge tower indifferently. Babel Tower. He opened his quest tab and there was only one quest, Sanctimonious. Louis, I hope to see you again. When the time comes, you must help me refine it again. Right now, my wild monster form is a little unpresentable. Lu Chen shook his head. As he got closer to the Babel Tower, Lu Chen gradually put away his other thoughts. Nine-winged dragon, go down. The nine-winged sky dragon swooped down from the cloud straight to the ground. The strong wind blew, lifting Lu Chen's short hair, and his red battle robe fluttered. In mid-air, Lu Chen directly jumped down and retracted his nine-winged sky dragon at the same time. A moment later, he landed with a loud crash. In front of the Babel Tower, Lu Chen was as small as an ant. He took a deep breath, the battle intent in his heart still burning. He stepped forward and walked toward the Babel Tower. The moment Lu Chen entered the Babel Tower, countless viewers who had been waiting for a long time in the official live stream finally saw that figure. Gold ID, Solipsistic. Red outfit, Wild Blood Sword God. Against the water scale sword hanging by his side. On his back, there was a strong black bow. But this time, Lu Chen had an additional Buddhist staff on his back, faintly flashing with white light. Why does Mad God have an additional weapon? Is that dark gold or orange equipment? The color doesn't seem right. White light. Could it be celestial equipment? Wait, why can Mad God use the Buddhist staff? Maybe it's an all-class weapon. Mad God seems to be able to use any weapon. Forget it, let's watch first. In front of Lu Chen, a huge 20-meter-tall iron door was tightly shut. Lu Chen let out a sigh. This time, I don't have to use the left and right hand keys. Not bad, it saves me some time. With one hand pressed on the iron door, Lu Chen pushed hard. With a low creak, the iron door slowly opened in front of him. The entire boss room was filled with green fog. As soon as he stepped into the room, Lu Chen's HP began to drop. Minus 50,000, minus 50,000. 50,000 every second. Debuff, Vicious Forbidden Area, lose 50,000 HP every second. There is no duration. This means that from the moment you enter this room, you will have to spend the rest of your life losing HP. Debuff, Blocked Meridians, all skill damage reduced by 20%, cooldown increased by 20%. Debuff, Poison Explosion, explodes once every 10 seconds, total damage is 50% of all poison damage received during this period. You will be poisoned without even seeing the person. With just these 3 debuffs, many people might not even be able to see Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary's face and would have already fallen. However, the person hiding in the poisonous fog did not seem to intend to avoid meeting him. A strange voice came from the depths of the poisonous fog. I heard, you want to kill me. Lu Chen looked toward the voice and saw a figure gradually emerging from the green fog. Before he could see his face clearly, he could see his mouth open. You've kept me waiting. Solipsistic. Chapter 437. Lu Chen narrowed his eyes slightly. This boss actually knew about him. As the person walked out of the green poisonous fog, Lu Chen finally saw how the person looked like. Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary no longer looked human. This person was about 5 to 6 meters tall and wore a long robe. One could vaguely see that he was burly, but his face was haggard and dark. His strong body and corpse-like face formed an extremely uncomfortable contrast. Compared to this person, the old woman in front of the bridge of helplessness was like a delicate little sister. Speaking of which, I still have to thank you. It has been a long time since someone raised the difficulty to purgatory level. I spent every day in boredom. I can finally come out for some fresh air. Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary twisted his neck and made a gurgling sound. Now, with every second that passed, Lu Chen's HP was decreasing. 950 million HP. Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary easily knew Lu Chen's HP limit. Your HP is really exaggerated. Unfortunately, in front of me, you are still as fragile as paper. Lu Chen snorted. Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary, it feels good to step on other people's corpses to reach where you are today. So what? In this world, the strong are respected and the winner is the king. The king can change history and let the future generations sing praises for him. As for the loser, only white bones are left. Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary grinned. When I reach the peak of the second heaven, I can go to a higher heaven region. But what about Lu Yi? She is still at the first heaven. Moreover, you should know very well why Divine Herbalist Valley became Ghost Valley. Unfortunately, Lu Yi realized it too late. When she hardened her heart, she no longer had the ability to control her own fate. To be ruthless, one must be ruthless and decisive, right? Lu Chen looked coldly at this somewhat crazy person. Speaking of which, there seemed to be some similarities between the two of them. The desire to be strong. Obviously, Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary was very excited now. Solipsistic, don't tell me that you have not stepped on other people's corpses along the way. Therefore, you have no right to judge me. The 10 seconds were up. Lu Chen suddenly received 500,000 points of damage. In addition to the previous 10 seconds of damage, his HP had dropped by 1/7. Lu Chen shook his head and smiled indifferently. Blah, blah, blah. Judge you? I think you're mistaken. I don't need to go through a trial to kill you. Jiao couldn't help but shake her head and sigh. This fellow was still so arrogant. Lu Chen drew the abyssal dragon crystal bow from his back, his eyes emitting green mist. Those who were familiar with Lu Chen knew that only when Lu Chen was extremely angry would he lose control of his body. But this time, before the battle had even begun, such a situation had already occurred. What's going on with boss? 10 Steps asked worriedly. On the other hand, Lu Yi's expression was solemn. She still remembered when her brother was 1v1 with the ace mid-laner of the world champion team back then. Back then, her brother's expression was very similar to now. When fighting with such an expert, the slightest mistake could lead to defeat. So, from the start, one had to be 120% focused and go all out. Is he going to get serious? Stardust narrowed his eyes slightly. God of War Possession. Demon Transformation. Lightless Sky Flame Pillar. Black Coffin Dead Zone. Lu Chen activated all 4 moves at the start. He stared at the opponent in front of him. Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary revealed a cruel smile. Is it starting? Very good. I can't wait anymore. I really want to turn you into a voodoo person. Shenong's Protection. Poison Master's Possession. A golden light flashed across Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary's body. Shenong's Protection, after receiving an attack, recover 40% of the attack's HP and continuously recover 40% of the damage's HP for 5 seconds. One Shenong's Protection was equivalent to reducing 80% of the attack's damage. Moreover, it was in the form of healing. In other words, any type of damage was the same. Then, a huge virtual image of an unknown species appeared behind Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary. It was even bigger than the God of War Possession. It was baring its fangs and brandishing its claws like a ghost. Poison Master's possession, increase poison attack by 100%. After receiving an attack, the enemy will be poisoned. At the same time, the enemy will obtain the effect of life steal. After receiving all poison effects, the enemy will recover the same amount of HP for themselves. The excess HP will be in the form of a life shield. Seeing these two buffs, the group of people was dumbfounded. Fuck, is this Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary? He is a medicine and poison master. His HP recovery is too insane. With these two skills, I doubt anyone can kill him. After receiving an attack, he can recover 80% of his HP. He can even poison his opponent. If his opponent is poisoned, he can recover his own HP. His total HP recovery is even higher than the damage received. That's too perverted. This is only his passive buff. Have you forgotten the debuff on Solipsistic? He has been poisoned by Forbidden Poisonous Land and Poison Outbreak. This is also a poison effect. That means that Lingwu Duzuan is already stealing life. It's true. Lingwu Duzuan already has a life shield. Damn, can anyone really defeat this kind of boss? I don't believe it. Others were shocked, while Lu Chen's friends were left with only despair at this time. Oh my god, there's no way out. I suspect that even if Green Wolf encountered this guy, he would only be killed. Boss, what should we do? There's no way to fight this, it's too difficult. There's really no way out. Boss. Sigh, Lu Chen looked coldly at Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary. To be honest, the two skills that this guy used at the beginning were already enough to make him feel pressured. The damage of the medic was not good. However, the consensus view in Jiutian was that the medic was definitely the hardest to kill among all the major professions. If the damage was not enough, he could exhaust you to death. The weakness of the medic was perfectly compensated by the Poison Master. The Poison Master was one of the most difficult professions to deal with. Other than the Puppet Master, even the tank would not want to face a Poison Master. Therefore, some people chose to practice both medicine and poison. A powerful medicine master who practiced both medicine and poison was definitely a nightmare for all professions. Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary was obviously the strongest medicine master and poison master in the second heaven. He even had the ability to go to the third heaven. According to Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary himself, he did not go to the third heaven because he was pursuing the ultimate goal. Taking a deep breath, Lu Chen's blood began to boil. Lu Yi, I really have to thank you for finding me such an interesting opponent. I'm very excited. Excited? Haha, I'll make you regret entering this door later. Let's start with the appetizer. Berserk Demon King. Green Wolf also had this skill. Seeing this skill, the hearts of the Earth players tightened. Both players' pain increased by 300%. However, Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary had an additional buff. Absolute Medicine Body, Loss of Pain Nerves. Damn, it can be like this. This Berserk Demon King is a godly skill tailor-made for him. In the battlefield, there was a short silence for a few seconds. Suddenly, the two super strong players moved at the same time as if they had agreed beforehand. 7 stars chasing moon. Flash shot. A figure like a ghost shot out an arrow instantly. Star poison body. Instant poison. The other turned into a green mist and instantly pierced through the Solipsistic who was moving at high speed. Chapter 438. Idiot, your attacks will only speed up your death. The Master of Spiritual Martial Apothecary Star-Grade Poison Body was obviously stronger than the Immortal Slaughtering Poisoner. The Immortal Slaughtering Poisoner's Star-Grade Poison Body was used for concealment, while the Master of Spiritual Martial Apothecary directly combined the Star-Grade Poison Body with attack. The speed of instant poison exceeded the reaction time of a human. It was almost impossible to dodge. Lu Chen was also unsurprisingly hit. Lu Chen was also shocked. How could this guy capture his whereabouts so easily and hit him in one move? His eyesight and reaction time were far above his own. With one instant poison, Lu Chen was already poisoned. Minus 1,500,000, poisoned. Debuff, poisoned, lasts for 5 seconds. Everyone was stunned by the damage. For a normal player, one instant poison was enough to kill them 10 times. Not to mention there was a poison effect after 10 seconds. At the same time, Lu Chen's 4 arrows all hit their targets. Minus 930,000, double critical hit, minus 1,740,000, triple critical hit, minus 1,690,000, triple critical hit, minus 950,000, double critical hit. Lu Chen's damage exploded again. Triple critical hit and double critical hit, dealing 5 million damage to the opponent in 4 attacks. The opponent's health points were revealed. 500 million. After playing Jiutian for so long, players already knew that there were 2 different types of Jiutian bosses. One type was the type of bosses that had extremely long health points, easily 1 or 2 billion. Although this type of boss had a lot of health points, it was actually not that scary. They were generally beast-type bosses, with high damage and health points, but low intelligence. The other type of boss was even scarier. They were generally humanoid bosses. Their health points were not that high, but their reaction time was almost the same as human players. This type of boss was far more terrifying than beast-type bosses. The immortal slaughtering poisoner's mere 88 million health points was already difficult to surpass, let alone his master's 500 million health points. It was simply an astronomical figure. 5 million damage was equivalent to 100% of the damage, but the master of spiritual martial apothecary activated Shen Nong's protection almost at the same time, instantly recovering 2 million health points. At the same time, he also had a continuous recovery status, recovering 440,000 health points per second for 5 seconds. This was still considered a small amount. The effect of the Master of Poison's protection was activated. Lu Chen was hit by the instant poison and received an initial 1.5 million poison damage. At the same time, he was poisoned and received an initial 2 million damage. After hitting Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary, Lu Chen received 3,700,000 damage from the initial poison damage. Subsequently, he received another 1,500,000 damage every second. At the same time, Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary recovered another 3,700,000 HP. Coupled with the shield from the Forbidden Vicious Land. After being hit by Lu Chen, not only did Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary not lose any HP, but the durability of his life shield had also increased to 1,400,000. After that, it would increase by 1.94 million every second for 5 seconds. After hitting Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary, not only did he not lose any HP, but his life shield had also increased. On the other hand, Lu Chen's HP of 9.5 million had been reduced to 4.8 million. Lu Chen spat out a few mouthfuls of blood due to the 300% pain system. Ha ha ha, is it very depressing to fight me? You clearly dealt quite a lot of damage, yet the result is like this. Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary looked at Lu Chen with great interest. Do you know what the limit is? The pinnacle of medicine was poison, and the pinnacle of poison was medicine. When poison and medicine are perfectly combined, I am immortal. You dare to touch my disciple. Very well, I want you to suffer a fate worse than death. I want you to become my voodoo slave. Witchcraft secret technique, heart-devouring voodoo. Xiao Tian was in a state of shock. This guy is not a dual cultivator of medicine and poison. He is a triple cultivator of medicine and poison. Oh my God, it's actually a secret technique. Secret techniques were independent of the technique's level. Although its power might not be as strong as a high-level technique of the same level, as long as it was a secret technique, it would definitely have its outstanding points. In addition, it was rare in the world, making it difficult to guard against. Lu Qin stared at Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary. To be honest, this guy was harder to deal with than he had imagined. Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary had already activated the heart-devouring voodoo. A black shadow was as fast as lightning, pouncing on Lu Qin. Rejuvenation. Lu Qin healed himself first. There was no other way. Even he could not block the damage. Whether he could heal himself or not was another matter. He had to heal himself first. Low-level displacement might not be able to avoid the voodoo. Lu Qin immediately used his highest-level movement technique. Ghostly shadows. In an instant, the entire battlefield was filled with hundreds of solipsistic yans. All of them were moving quickly. For a moment, it was hard to tell which one was the real one. You want to trick me with this crappy movement technique? What a joke. However, the heart-devouring voodoo ignored all the illusions and went straight to the real Lu Qin. No, that voodoo is attracted by my poison. Lu Qin came back to his senses. Originator. At the critical moment, Lu Qin summoned the originator. As a puppet, the originator was not afraid of poison or voodoo. The voodoo entered the originator's body. A moment later, it came out of the originator and went back to Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary. Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary looked at the originator that was standing in front of Lu Qin in surprise. That thing is a puppet. The originator was not an average puppet, but it also had some of the characteristics of a puppet. Not even Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary had ever seen one like that. Unfortunately, you still can't escape. Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary snorted. You're not the only one with a battle pet. 7-star poison men. Heart-devouring voodoo slaves. 8 people suddenly appeared in front of Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary. Seeing these 8 figures, Jingui Yanran couldn't help but gasp. The heart-devouring voodoo slave was a tiger dragon. That guy had captured a tiger dragon as a heart-devouring voodoo slave. As for the other 7-star poison men, they were all in human form and were emitting different colors. Red, orange, yellow, green, cyan, blue, purple, all of them. Clearly, they weren't trying to gather all the colors, but because they were poisonous enough. Lu Qin was even more worried. They were not in the water, so the tiger dragon could not exert its full strength. Even so, the originator would not be able to deal with the tiger dragon alone. Furball, go and help the originator. Little Furball used its thin and small body to quickly teleport to Little Yuan's side. It quickly transformed and resisted the tiger dragon goo slaves together. In the meantime, the 7-star poison men surrounded Lu Qin. 7-star poison formation. The 7 of them surrounded Lu Qin at the positions of the 7 stars. The colorful light on their bodies shone brightly as they attacked at the same time. In the formation, the 7-star poisons of different attributes quickly fused and exploded. Lu Qin found himself unable to move. The damage above his head was jumping rapidly. The numbers of different colors represented different types of poisons. The specific numbers could not be seen clearly, but his remaining 4,800,000 HP quickly emptied. -9,500,000, poison outbreak. A poison outbreak, Lu Qin was directly killed. Instakill. A real instakill. This time, it was not that Lu Qin did not try his best, but the opponent was too strong and did not give him any chance to breathe. He was instakilled. This is too strong. There's no way I can beat him. I'm already so strong, and his poison men and voodoo slaves are equally terrifying. It's over. It seems that no one will be able to pass the second heaven in the future. I heard that the solipsistic still has a life. Could it be? I heard that too, but the difference in strength is too big. Even if he has 10 lives, it won't be enough. Hey, look at those poison men. They're still releasing the 7-star poison formation. They're waiting for the solipsistic to revive. Damn, Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary is not going to give the solipsistic any chance. Chapter 439. Nirvana Rebirth. Lu Chen was reborn from the flames. All negative effects were removed. Taking advantage of the instant and the negative effects were removed, Lu Chen used his body movement to try to break free from the 7-star poison array. Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary's face was full of disdain. It's actually Nirvana Rebirth. Then you should have 3 lives. As expected of Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary, he could tell the difference between Nirvana Rebirth and Nirvana Rebirth at a glance. Lu Chen's hidden trump card had been seen through by Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary. Unfortunately, it doesn't matter how many lives you have. 7-star poison array, 7-star shift. The 7-star poison men quickly retreated and changed their positions. Their speed was extremely fast, almost comparable to Lu Chen's rapid shift. The 7 of them moved quickly on the field, constantly changing the range of the 7-star poison array. Dark Night Blink. Rapid shift. Lu Chen quickly avoided the 7-star poison men to avoid being sealed in the 7-star poison array again. However, the other party wasn't chasing after him. They were changing their positions. Lu Chen had to constantly avoid being caught by the other party's changes. This was many times more difficult than directly avoiding the enemy's attack. Unfortunately, although Lu Chen's reaction was fast, he didn't learn geometry well in junior high school. The other party's array pattern changed too quickly. He wasn't paying attention and was locked in the 7-star poison array for the second time. Once locked, with his little HP, he would die in an instant. A second life. The last Nirvana Rebirth. It was also Lu Chen's last chance. The mountain man's eyes were almost narrowed into slits. Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary is stronger than before. Has he really reached the limit? However, even if Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary was incomparably strong, with the mountain man's understanding of Lu Chen. Although the solipsistic had been doing his best to respond to Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary's moves, he still felt that this battle was missing something. Moments later, the mountain man found the word in his mind. Yes, it's missing spirituality. The greatest impression that solipsistic gave him was that solipsistic's understanding and application of moves were full of spirituality. He was able to fully utilize the advantages of his own moves against the enemy's moves. The same move could become even more unexpected in his hands. In this battle, the solipsistic sword was lacking in this aspect. If this continued, there was no suspense in the outcome. The mountain man glared at Lu Chen. Kid, this isn't like you. Quickly think of a way to deal with it, or you'll lose. What about that move? Where are the weapons and cultivation methods I gave you? Why aren't you using them? Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary looked at the fleeing figure with a faint smile. On the last life, the solipsistic's performance was much better than the second time. Until now, he had not been locked onto by the 7-star poison array. Of course, under the effect of the vicious forbidden land, his health points were still dropping rapidly. Soon, his last life would end here. Kid, you're quite good at running. Do you know what you look like in my eyes now? Master Lingwu's eyes were burning. A stray dog. Didn't you say you wanted to kill me? Weren't you arrogant? Why can you only run now? You don't even have the courage to touch me. Did Louis find such a useless person like you? Ha ha ha, what reincarnation? What good and evil will be rewarded? When you're strong enough, even if I go against heaven's will, who can stop me? You want to challenge me? Never. The more Master Lingwu spoke, the more excited he became. The smile on his face became more and more cruel. Solipsistic, you're lucky today. I'll let you become the sacrifice for that move. Master Lingwu's hands formed into claws. Endless poisonous gas rushed towards his claws, forming a green vortex that turned into dark green and then black. The entire boss room was filled with black fog. It was like hell on earth. Outside Tong Tian Tower, the players here looked up at the sky. Above Tong Tian Tower, dark clouds gathered, forming a vortex. Strong winds blew all around. The Tong Tian Tower dungeon could no longer suppress Master Lingwu's terrifying strength. What is the limit of poison? I already know. Solipsistic, you should feel honored to be able to personally experience this. 7-star poison array, star poison explosion. Go back to the first layer of heaven for your father. The 7-star poison man instantly exploded and activated this attack. Hong, 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 hong. 7 explosions caused countless explosions. The entire second floor of Tong Tian Tower suddenly exploded. Countless explosions occurred on the ground, covering the entire boss room. The terrifying explosions created 10 meters of poisonous gas. The world was in chaos and the earth trembled. In the live broadcast, the people could no longer see anything. They could only see the endless poisonous gas covering the entire second floor of Tong Tian Tower. My God, this is a true full map attack. Fuck, how many people go, how many people will die? This is a heaven domain boss in purgatory mode. Is this something a human can defeat? Even if someone from the third layer of heaven came, they wouldn't be his match. It's simply invulnerable. That fellow, Lone Tyrant, is likely going to be blasted to smithereens. That's 300% pain threshold. He has already died twice. Now that he's going to die again, the pain he's going to endure has already surpassed what a normal person can endure. Wood Manor's Jiu air covered her mouth as 2 streams of tears silently fell. Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary was too strong. He was so strong that no one dared to challenge him. Even if that person was in front of him, he would be completely crushed and killed. Even now, Master Lingwu was still at full health. There was no way he could make a comeback. In a certain galaxy, on a certain planet, there was an ancient and majestic building. In one of the mansions, Gui Yanran was in a daze as she looked at the live broadcast on a projector stone. Solipsistic, you won't die, right? This question already had an answer. Under this kind of attack, who wouldn't die? Only Gui Yanran wasn't willing to believe it. That person who always had a lazy expression when fighting with her, that person who stubbornly wanted to take care of the tiger dragon underwater, had actually been blown to pieces without any resistance. Lu Yi really wanted to rush into her brother's room and cry while hugging him. Brother. Lu Yi's tears couldn't stop falling. Her brother who had never been defeated had truly fallen in this battle. Perhaps everyone thought that Solipsistic had already fallen. But there was still one person. On a planet that was covered in snow all year round, a 13 to 14-year-old girl raised her hands. A ball of cold air appeared in her palms. The cold air gradually took shape and transformed into a blurry figure. A health bar appeared above the figure's head. What was surprising was that his health bar was 1. No matter what, that person wasn't dead yet. That's great, big brother. You're not dead yet. I knew you wouldn't die that easily. But, you only have 1 health left. How are you going to defeat that person? That person with such a terrifying recovery ability and 500 million health. Chapter 440. The Stardust toxic explosion was still exploding crazily. Master Lingwu laughed wildly, ha 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 ha. No one can survive from my stardust toxic explosion. No one. I'll make sure you don't even have a corpse left. Ha ha ha, so what if I deceive my master and destroy my ancestors? So what if I poison and refine millions of people? Did you see that? This is the pinnacle of poison. Everything is poison. Everything can be used by me. I can defy the heavens. What can the heavens do to me? Ha 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 ha. Master Lingwu had gone crazy. His craziness made everyone tremble in fear. This guy is too scary. Is there anyone who can defeat him? No wonder he's the strongest grade 2 realm boss. He's already invincible, I'm not watching anymore. There's nothing to watch anymore. Give up. This guy is too crazy. There's only one way to defeat him, unless there's someone even crazier than him. However, at this moment, a voice was heard in the midst of the explosion. The voice was calm, without any sadness or joy, but it was extremely solemn. It was like a mix of voices, extremely solemn. As long as hell is not empty, I swear not to become a Buddha. Only by saving all living beings can I achieve enlightenment. If I don't go to hell, who will? Buddha saves all living beings. With a boom, a golden light instantly exploded and swept across the entire area. At this moment, all the poisonous gas was swept away by the golden light. Even the surrounding vicious forbidden land was purified. The entire world seemed to have been purified at this moment. Master Lingwu looked at this scene in disbelief. How can this be? My 7-star poison array. This is an array. How can it be cleared away? My vicious forbidden land, this is a pseudo-realm technique. How can it be purified? At this moment, countless people looked at that figure. The man who only had 1 HP left and was bleeding from all 7 orifices, but his entire body was glowing with golden light. At this moment, Lu Chen was holding the Ksitigarbha staff. His eyes were slightly closed as he stood solemnly. Buddha saves all living beings. What kind of technique is this? I've never seen solipsistic use it before. Is this a heaven's might or a heaven technique? It can actually suppress such a horrifying technique like the stardust toxic explosion. That's not right. Buddha saves all lives looks very powerful, but it doesn't seem to have caused any damage. Buddha saves all lives only had one move, and it did not cause any damage. At first glance, it did not live up to its status as a heaven-grade cultivation technique. However, 3 statuses appeared on Lu Chen's body. 3 lives reincarnation. Every time you revive, the amount of HP lost will be added to the percentage of HP lost. At that time, Lu Chen didn't understand when he saw this state. He only figured it out when he was cultivating deep in the mountains. To put it simply, Lu Chen's 3rd life was now at the last sliver of HP. If it was in the past, he would not have lost more than 100% of his HP. This was because he would die if he lost more than 100% of his HP. After reviving, his HP would be full again, and the percentage of HP lost would be recalculated. However, under the effect of 3 lives reincarnation, Lu Chen had lost 299% of his HP. The 2nd state. Invincible golden body. When the user has 1 HP remaining, the user will no longer receive any damage over time. This effect is at most immune to the effects of heaven tier middle skill. However, the user will have to endure 200% pain. The 3rd state was the exclusive weapon state. Sacrificial Hell, activate when equipped with Ksitigarbha staff. Attack action will turn into a Buddhist seal attack. Cancel action and shake back and forth. There were only 3 statuses, and none of them directly increased attack. They didn't seem very strong, but only Lu Chen knew how strong these 3 statuses were. It was simply heaven-defying. The effect of 3 lives reincarnation alone didn't have any practical significance, but it could be combined with a variety of skills to produce terrifying power. Invincible Golden Body was simply the nemesis of poison attacks and elemental attacks. Even if the user only had 1 HP left, they would still be alive. As long as they were alive, they could counterattack and escape. Sacrificial Hell was also very abnormal. The only difference between a Buddhist seal attack, a prophet spell attack, a talisman master's talisman attack, and other long-range attacks was that they had no trajectory and were extremely difficult to dodge. Simply put, this was an attack mode that was between close-range and long-range attacks. When facing a close-range attack, unless the player had to dodge or predict the position in advance, it was almost impossible to dodge. Since the Buddhist seal attack had no trajectory, it was equivalent to having the characteristics of close-range attacks. Of course, the Buddhist seal also had its own weaknesses. That was, its attack power was not as high as pure close-range attacks, and the triggering rate of all its passive abilities was reduced by half. His body was also not as good as pure close-range attacks, and he couldn't hide far away like other long-range attacks, so his ability to protect himself was insufficient. However, Sacrificial Hell was only a change in the attack mode. Lu Chen's attack power did not decrease, and he still had all his original advantages. The only effect was that the triggering rate of Lu Chen's passive abilities was reduced by 50%. Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary narrowed his eyes slightly until he saw Lu Chen's HP. He suddenly felt relieved. Solipsistic, you can't be thinking that you can turn the tables with just a little HP left, right? Even if you don't suffer continuous damage, you'll die if I touch you. Moreover, not only is my HP full, but I also have more than 10 million health shields. Tell me, what's the use of you surviving? Oh, I understand. You must be thinking that if you don't use it now, you won't have the chance to use it in the future. Lu Chen looked at Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary calmly. You said, extreme, just now. Very good. Do you know what extreme is? Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary sneered. Why? Do you know better than me? You're a dying man. Why are you talking about extreme with me? Are you worthy? Lu Chen's face did not change. Instead, he smiled calmly. The last battle of the second heaven. Fine, I'll tell you what extreme is. Dragon's Blood Boil. When the skill was activated, Lu Chen's HP instantly became 0. Everyone who was watching the battle almost dropped their jaws. 0 HP. What the hell is this? Why didn't he die? This doesn't make sense. Can that Buddha crossing all lives have an immortal body? Impossible, absolutely impossible. Who can explain this 0 HP to me? Even those who were familiar with Lu Chen might not know why Lu Chen was left with 0 HP. But the people in the mountains were very clear. Dragon's Blood Boil would deduct 80% of the current HP. 1 point of HP was 80%. Lu Chen's HP should be 0. 2 HP. The system directly ignored it. You're really a lunatic. You're really pursuing the extreme. Only 0. 2 HP left. When it came to pursuing the extreme, that guy was really crazier than Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary. Alright, at least you're not dead. Those who care about you will probably have a heart attack a few times if they watch your battle. Extreme was like this. After Dragon's Blood Boil, Lu Chen's damage increased by 80%. But this was not the main point. The scariest part was the combination of 3 lives reincarnation and madness. Attack increased by 1199. 2% attack speed increased by 1199. 2% skill cooldown reduced by 100%. Skill cooldown was actually reduced by 299. 8%. But the cooldown could not be overflowed. It was just a 100% reduction. In other words, there was no cooldown. With 2 skills stacked, Lu Chen was already very overpowered. But this was not the end. 3 Devil Transformation. Lu Chen tore open the human skin. The demon that had been waiting for a long time finally appeared. Overall, it was domineering, but the pair of furry fox ears and fox tail were really eye-catching. Lu Chen shook his head. Lu Yi, I really need you. The 3 Devil Transformation was already the last transformation of the 3 Devil Transformation. After half a year of training, it finally had the chance to appear. The demon opened his bloodthirsty mouth. His green eyes overflowed uncontrollably. He smiled and looked at Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary. I heard. Your HP is very good. Chapter 441. The 3 Devil Transformations increased all attacks by 1000%. Powerful demon gods would no longer be punished by heaven's punishment, but the duration was increased to 30 seconds. The cooldown was 24 hours. Perhaps Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary was right about one thing. When you had the ability to defy the heavens, you could even avoid heaven's punishment. Unfortunately, sometimes the punishment did not come from the heavens, but from humans or demons. Just like Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary, he was facing a super demon whose attack was increased by 200 times. What did 200 times mean? Lu Chen's physical attack was now 360,000. After doubling, his normal attack had reached 72 million. Unfortunately, this number was not visible to others, especially Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary. He only saw Lu Chen's HP, which was so dark that it could not be any darker. You're about to die, yet you're still so arrogant. I don't believe that I can't kill you. Lu Chen smiled. You can try. All the best. Lu Chen was actually cheering for Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary. The group of people was speechless. All right. Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary squinted his eyes. Then, his eyes suddenly widened. Poison Master's power, refresh. 7-star poison formation, star poison explosion. This guy could actually refresh the star poison explosion again. Moreover, he had forcefully activated the star poison explosion when he had lost the 7-star poison man. In an instant, the star poison explosion attacked again. With such a poison explosion, as long as it touched the solipsistic, he would definitely die. Lu Chen snorted. I think you're at your wit's end. Ghostly shadow descent. In an instant, the solipsistic disappeared from the spot. In the next second, he had appeared in an illusion beside Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary. 3000 body flicker slash. After the 3000 body flicker slash was activated, it would be in an invincible state. At this moment, only this move could fight against the star poison explosion. However, one move was enough. Leaving behind an illusion, Lu Chen's figure turned into a red and golden shadow. He instantly activated 11 body flicker slashes on Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary. 1 body flicker slash, along with a 5-hit combo. 11 body flicker slashes, 55 combo. Unfortunately, it was destined that he could not display all 55 combo attacks. The first attack of 55 combo. -14 000 50% damage reduction, 23 million shield absorption. When this number appeared, the entire galaxy shook. Countless people maintained the same expression. Their eyes were bulging, their mouths were agape, their jaws dropped to the ground, their expressions were stiff, and their brains short-circuited. Break, 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 10 million. Someone's lips were trembling. After a long while, he finally squeezed out the word break. Normal attack. 14 million. Motherfucker, this, what kind of monster is this? No, it's not 14 million. Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary's life shield absorbed 23 million, 37 million, and then 50% damage reduction. So, it's 70 million. Oh my god. What kind of demon is this guy? Perhaps the only one who wasn't satisfied with this attack was Lu Chen. He had 70 million plus physical attack, but now, he was only able to deal 14 million damage. That was too bad. At the same time, Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary instantly recovered 5,600,000 HP. At the same time, he also received a continuous HP recovery effect. However, this was only the first attack of the 55 consecutive hits. What came next was the main event. Minus 110 million, double critical hit, minus 35 million, minus 170 million, triple critical hit, minus 100 million, double critical hit, minus 32 million, a series of unimaginable numbers floated out. Up to 100 million. Oh my god. Impossible, it's impossible to deal such high damage. How did he do it? Motherfucker, oh my god, that guy is going against the heavens. The Earth player's mentality had exploded. Fuck, what kind of damage is this? Is this mad god? Can't that guy be human? He wasn't this strong the last time. What did he do in the past 6 months? Up to 100 million damage at level 2. That guy can't be described as strong anymore. He's a madman, a pervert. A boy recalled that Mad God had once given him a colorful gold gem. After that, many people spoke ill of him for killing Earth players. However, in the heart of the child, he still believed that Mad God was not such a person. Because of this, some of his classmates mocked him, saying that he had been kneeling for too long, saying that he did not even have a stand after receiving benefits. However, he still remembered the kind smile on Mad God's face when he threw the colorful gold gem to him. Brother Mad God, good job. I knew you wouldn't admit defeat so easily. The boy's eyes were slightly red as he watched the live broadcast. I will be like you and become the strongest. Although Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary's health points were rapidly recovering, Lu Chen's attacks were too terrifying. Health points. Under the extreme attack, it was like a joke. The only use was to let Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary take a few more hits, completely unable to save him. In less than a second, Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary's health points of 500 million with full health points, disappeared. Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary, who was known as the strongest level 2 Sky Domain boss, who was known as an invincible super boss, had his health points disappear. Another instant kill. In the blink of an eye, Lu Chen had killed the Sky Domain boss with an instant kill. Especially the players from Earth, who had seen how Mad God killed Heavenly Demon Venerable with their own eyes, watching this battle again, their hearts were filled with shock. What the fuck, a Sky Domain boss was instantly killed by that guy. Is there still justice, is there still law? Lone Tyrant, Heaven Domain boss expert in insta-killing. These Heaven Domain bosses are probably going crazy right now. Do you think I don't care about my reputation anymore? I'll broadcast this live to the entire galaxy. Why can't you just fight properly? Sky Domain boss, solipsistic, can't you afford to play with him? I used to think that Mad God wasn't that crazy, but now, sorry, I was wrong. I've never seen anyone more crazy than him in my life. No matter what Mad God's character is like, I have to say that this guy is worthy of the name War God. I, Sai, really can't hate him. Instead, I feel so good. That man is from Earth. Mad God tortured me thousands of times, but I treated Mad God like my first love. Sai, first love is so painful. After a boss was killed, it would forcefully retain 1 HP. It was the same for Demon Supremacy Tong Tian and Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary. At this moment, an interesting scene had appeared. Master Spiritual Martial, who only had 1 HP remaining, had lost to Lone Tyrant, who only had 0 HP remaining. Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary collapsed on the ground, spitting out large mouthfuls of blood. However, he couldn't care less about this. He only looked at the demon in front of him in fear. You. Impossible. You can't defeat me. I clearly took 2 of your lives, you clearly only have a little HP left. Impossible. Lu Chen looked at Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary on the ground indifferently and didn't say anything. There was no need to say anything now. No matter how impossible it was now in front of him. It was impossible not to believe it. Finally, Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary accepted this reality and was extremely depressed. After a long time, Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary raised his head and looked at Lu Chen. He said weakly, "So, from the beginning, you deliberately let me take 2 of your lives." Lu Chen removed his demon skin. He didn't know why, but when he looked at Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary, he felt pity for him. Perhaps it was because they had something in common. Chapter 442. Lu Chen spoke. Your HP regeneration is not a problem for me. After all, you can only recover 40% of your HP instantly. It's not as high as my attack. As long as I attack quickly, you won't be able to keep up with my attacks no matter how fast your HP regeneration is. I don't have to worry about the poisonous Forbidden Land and other poison effects. I have Buddha's salvation. If necessary, I can activate it at the first life. The only thing that gives me a headache is your poison damage. If my attack is not high enough, I have to attack continuously to prevent you from recovering HP. At the same time, I'll be poisoned continuously. Every time I attack, I'll be poisoned. If I want to hit you with 500 million HP, I'll be poisoned by you with 500 million HP. My HP is obviously not enough to complete the kill. So, I only have one chance. One chance to kill you instantly. This attack has to be enough to kill you instantly. At the same time, the poison damage that can kill me can be offset by my spirit pet. Considering that you might have other tricks up your sleeve, I've decided to activate Buddha's salvation at the 3rd life to kill you instantly. I'll cooperate with you at the first 2 lives. First, I'll let you lower your guard. Second, I want to see what tricks you have up your sleeve. In fact, I can dodge your attacks. Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary looked at Lu Chen in shock. It turned out that before the battle began, this guy had already come up with a plan in his mind. He had already planned to kill him instantly. At that moment, the last bit of unwillingness in Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary's heart gradually dissipated after Lu Chen's explanation. This guy was scarier than he had imagined. It was not just his insane attack power. The most important thing was his calmness and steadiness. I can't believe that you can still be so calm while fighting with me. I have to admire you, Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary said helplessly. Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary said helplessly, so, you have already decided the outcome of this battle from the very beginning. Lu Chen looked down at Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary on the ground. Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary shook his head dejectedly. I can't believe I've lost. I thought I've reached the limit. I thought I'm invincible within the 2nd heaven. Ha 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 ha, the one who punishes me is not the heavens. It's you. It wasn't me. Lu Chen said. He opened the mission panel, and the sanctimonious mission already indicated that he could submit it. He tried tapping it, and a woman in a fluttering green dress appeared beside the 2 of them. Lu Yi. There was no reward for this mission. Back then, Lu Chen had casually accepted it. Of course, at that time, his understanding of Jiutian was not as deep as it was now. He had only accepted it as an ordinary mission. But now, Lu Chen was no longer the same as when he was in the 1st heaven. Perhaps the things that happened in the 9 heavens were all true. No matter what, Lu Chen was still very happy to see Lu Yi. Beauty, your mission is complete. I'll leave this person to you. Lu Yi looked at Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary on the ground with red eyes. Fortunately, Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary was on the verge of death. Lu Yi held back her grief and anger. She turned around and knelt before Lu Chen. "Thank you, benefactor," Lu Yi said with a trembling voice. Lu Chen frowned and went forward to help Lu Yi up. "Why are you kneeling? What era are we in? If you really want to thank me, just give me your body." Lu Yi was stunned. "Give him her body." She looked at Lu Chen in surprise. It seemed like this request was more serious than kneeling down to thank him. "Benefactor, I'm no longer human. I'm afraid I can't give you my body," Lu Chen laughed. "Why are you so nervous? It's just a joke." There were no living people in the Ghost Valley. Humans and ghosts were different. Moreover, they were in a game. Of course, giving her body was just a joke. He did not expect Lu Yi to take it seriously. Moreover, he still had to ask Lu Yi for help later. Lu Yi heaved a sigh of relief. She turned around and looked at Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary. "You also have a day like this." Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary looked at Lu Yi without any fear. "Don't you regret it?" Lu Yi stared at Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary. "My father treated you so well. The people in the valley treated you so well. But what did you do to them? Are you still human? Regret? Ha ha ha, no, I never regret it." Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary laughed wildly. "My goal is not to stay in a place like Divine Herbalist Valley forever. I want more. I want to become the strongest person. Only then can I establish myself in the third heaven. Only then can I change my fate. No, to be precise, I want to change everyone's fate." Lu Yi looked at Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary angrily. Lu Chen noticed that other than hatred in Lu Yi's eyes, there seemed to be something else. "I never regret it. There's only one thing. It's a pity." Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary suddenly said. "I haven't reached the true limit. I don't have the chance to fight in the third heaven. Incurable." Lu Yi angrily spat out these 4 words. "Ha ha ha, I've already had 10,000 poisons in my body. How can there be any medicine that can save me? Do it. Take revenge for the people in the valley." Lu Yi's eyes were filled with tears. "I'll ask you one last question." Lu Chen and Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary both looked at Lu Yi. "Why is there a place called Divine Herbalist Valley in the second heaven?" Suddenly, Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary was stunned. As a heaven domain boss, he ruled the second heaven domain. Naturally, he had the right to name a map. Behind the arena, north of the Immortal Trace Peak, there was a hidden paradise called Divine Herbalist Valley. When Lu Chen first arrived there, he was curious why it was called Divine Herbalist Valley. Lu Chen clearly remembered that there was an old man in Divine Herbalist Valley who took care of the herb fields all day. He had also obtained the little furball there. Why would such a beautiful place be called Divine Herbalist Valley? This question was like a fatal steel needle that pierced into Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary's sealed heart. Why is that place called Divine Herbalist Valley? Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary repeated Lu Yi's question as if he was asking himself. He even became a goose slave and took care of the herb fields every day. Just like that person who treated him like his own. Master. Why is it called Divine Herbalist Valley? Why is it called Divine Herbalist Valley? The steel needle repeatedly pierced Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary's heart. Finally, it defeated this madman who pursued strength by any means necessary. Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary actually began to cry. Master, I don't want to kill you. Those villagers, I don't want to kill you. But, if I'm not strong enough, how can I fight in the third heaven? If I'm not strong enough, how can I take revenge? Lu Yi finally heard what she wanted to hear the most. Perhaps Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary's repentance would make Lu Yi feel better than his death. Taking out the medicine cauldron, Lu Yi waved her hand and Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary was sucked into the medicine cauldron. End it, I'll send you back to Divine Herbalist Valley. Hey! Wait! Lu Chen became anxious. Big sister, you can't be reckless. Lu Yi looked at Lu Chen in astonishment. Benefactor, why are you doing this? Big sister, he's a heaven domain boss. He drops equipment. If you take it away like this, what am I going to take? Lu Chen almost collapsed. The items dropped by this guy should be at least heaven rank. Lu Chen didn't expect to get a lot of them, but at least one of them. Be it equipment or martial arts, these were all his capital to explore the third layer of heaven. Benefactor. After you accept the mission, he'll become your mission boss. He won't drop any equipment. Lu Chen almost vomited blood out of the screen. This. It can't be. I've suffered a huge loss from this mission. Benefactor, I'm really sorry. I thought you knew. Lu Chen almost cried. What the hell did he know? If he knew earlier, he would not have accepted this mission. Furthermore, he did not know that Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary was a heaven domain boss in the second heaven. Moreover, it was a heaven domain boss in the purgatory difficulty. Fuck. Benefactor, don't be anxious. My wish has already been fulfilled. If Benefactor doesn't mind, Yi is willing to follow Benefactor. Lu Chen, who was on the verge of collapse, suddenly recovered. Lu Yi followed him. That also means that the medicine cauldron also followed him. Chapter 443. Although it was a pity that the boss did not drop any equipment, if Lu Yi was willing to follow him, it seemed to be more helpful to Lu Chen than a heaven-grade weapon or skill. Xiao Min was only a purple-grade ghost pet, but she had always been Lu Chen's most important partner. Lu Yi should not be weaker than Xiao Min. After accepting Lu Yi, a system notification popped up. Congratulations on obtaining Celestial Grade Ghost Pet Lu Yi. Celestial Grade. This. Lu Chen's eyes widened in shock. Lu Yi was so strong. But thinking about it, it was indeed very difficult to obtain LVE. She appeared in the first layer of Heaven's legendary hidden mission, Divine Blood Demon Seed. The condition to enter the Ghost Valley was that one's yang qi must be strong enough. In other words, there could not be a death record. After that, Lu Yi requested to complete the Sanctimonious quest. This quest had almost no rewards, so players might not even be willing to accept it. Even if they accepted it, they still had to kill the Heaven Domain boss at level 2 Purgatory to complete the Sanctimonious quest. Lu Yi's quest was a quest that extended from level 1 to level 2. It was very difficult and was definitely the most difficult quest that Lu Chen had completed so far. Moreover, killing Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary would normally drop equipment. How could there be no reward for completing such a difficult quest? Lu Chen was now sure that killing Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary was not without a reward, but the reward had been upgraded. However, when he fought with Lu Yi was not very strong. How did she suddenly become a celestial grade ghost pet? Lu Chen hurriedly checked on Lu Yi's situation. Ghost pet, Lu Yi, legendary, unique, level 50, profession, medicine, poison, and goo cultivation apothecary, profession potential rating, medicine, 1 in 10,000, celestial grade, poison, 1 in 10,000, celestial grade, goo technique, once in a century, legendary level, portable dharma treasure, primordial chaos medicine cauldron, level 1, increases pill refinement success rate by 30%, reduces material consumption by 30%, 10% chance of twin pills, 5% chance of triple pills, special effect, bloodline fusion. Every time the primordial chaos medicine cauldron levels up, it will obtain the ability to fuse bloodlines once. Although this was Lu Chen's first time seeing the potential rating, he still understood the remarks at the back. Damn, so the reason why Lu Yi is an immortal is because of her potential. Lu Chen came to a realization, this fellow's growth potential was huge. 2 of the medical poison goo's attributes had reached immortal grade, and 1 was at legendary grade. Having the potential to reach the immortal level didn't mean that one could only grow to the immortal level. Immortal level cultivation techniques could only be immortal level cultivation techniques. However, having the potential to reach the immortal level could only mean that her growth speed was faster than others. She could definitely reach a higher realm. Lu Chen had reason to believe that with Lu Yi's potential, it was very likely that she would surpass Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary. However, she had been killed by the Spiritual Martial Apothecary and could only exist in the form of a ghost. Geniuses might not be able to reach the end. Lu Chen couldn't help but think about the potential of his battle pets. Unfortunately, when he glanced at the Chaos panel, that fellow's panel didn't have a potential rating. Maybe the potential rating system will be officially open for rank 3 geniuses. Lu Yi only had a white attribute robe on her, and it had 3 skills. Eternal Vitality, Man Luo Heavenly Certificate, and Mad Demon Gu, 1 for each of the 3 branches. Little Green, why do you only have 3 skills? The last time I fought with you, you had more than these. Lu Yi slightly bowed. Benefactor, after becoming your ghost pet, I have to give up many things. I can only keep 3 skills. If you feel that they are not enough, you can let me learn more cultivation techniques, or wear equipment with special effects. Lu Chen nodded and sighed. No wonder ghost pets weren't so easy to obtain, they were often the only ones. They also needed to be determined to awaken. Then I'll have to trouble you. Not at all, Yi has no regrets. I am willing to follow Benefactor. Don't call me Benefactor. Just call me boss like Xiao Min. Benefactor, it sounds weird. Lu Chen smiled. Xiao Min, you have a partner now. Xiao Min, come out, this is your big sister Little Green. A cute little girl appeared beside Lu Chen, tilting her head and saying sweetly, Big sister Little Green. Congratulations on successfully killing the rank 2 Heavenly Domain boss. The rank 3 Heavenly Domain has been opened to you. In addition, you have obtained the ability to blink in the entire map of the rank 2 Heavenly Domain. Please note, after entering the rank 3 Heavenly Domain, you cannot return to the rank 2 Heavenly Domain without the Mortal Pass. The Mortal Pass requires you to enter the rank 3 Heavenly Domain to obtain it. Galaxy District 19, the only Purgatory boss has been refined. The Heavenly Domain boss will be upgraded to Hell Mode boss. Lu Chen blinked. The difficulty is down. Not bad. I was just saying that if there was another spiritual herbalist, it would be difficult for others to pass. Lu Chen breathed a sigh of relief. Who asked him to create the Purgatory level? He had to take some responsibility. The rank 3 Heavenly Domain was quite different from the rank 2 Heavenly Domain. Did they still need the Mortal Pass to return? Actually, this was also expected. There were so many people in the rank 3 Heavenly Domain. If they casually entered the rank 2 Heavenly Domain, it would be unimaginable for the rank 2 Heavenly Domain players. There were almost no rank 3 Heavenly Domain players in the rank 2 Heavenly Domain. As for the Mortal Pass, although Lu Chen had never heard of it, he had a reference. He could roughly guess the difficulty of obtaining it. Back then, Hunter Emperor went to find his master. If it was really possible to descend, his master would have come long ago, but he only came 2 months later. It was obvious that the Mortal Pass was not that easy to obtain. He looked back at the dungeon entrance. Was there anything worth staying in the rank 2 Heavenly Domain? Could the players from Earth, especially his friends, walk out on their own? And the people he knew in the rank 2 Heavenly Domain, would he see them in the rank 3 Heavenly Domain? Boss, do you want to stay for a while? Xiao Min pulled Lu Chen's sleeve. You should be worried about your friends, right? Lu Chen took a deep breath. his gaze seemed to be able to pass through the dungeon. No, we'll go straight to the rank 3 heavenly domain. That's right, there were still things he was reluctant to leave, but he had to move forward, all the way forward. They will take care of themselves. After saying that, Lu Chen led Xiao Min and Lu Yi to the next floor of the Tower of Babel. Lu Chen had no idea what the other side of the black hole was like at the entrance. He only knew that many people told him that the rank 3 heavenly domain was definitely not what he thought it was. Normally, he would think that the rank 3 heavenly domain was a larger area, and the difficulty would be higher, but since Ken Sheng and the people in the mountains reminded him, the rank 3 heavenly domain was definitely not that simple. Xiao Min, possess. Little Green, come back first. After putting away Xiao Min and Little Green, Lu Chen took a deep breath, the corner of his mouth raised slightly. Was the rank 3 heavenly domain more terrifying than he thought? Very good. This was more interesting. Old Mu Xian, I'm here to save you. After saying that, Lu Chen stepped into the entrance of the rank 3 heavenly domain. Chapter 444. After a brief moment of dizziness, accompanied by a white light, Lu Chen opened his eyes and found that he was born in a dilapidated village. There were a few dilapidated mud houses scattered around. The mud houses were dilapidated and could even be described as broken bricks and tiles. The houses were crooked as if they were about to collapse. However, although these houses were dilapidated, there was a proper line of defense at the entrance of the village. A large number of boulders were piled up, forming a stone mountain that was 30 to 40 meters high, blocking the entrance of the village. No way, this is the third layer of heaven. Lu Chen couldn't believe his eyes. There were a few players around him with luxurious equipment. The worst equipment on them was probably dark gold. There was no lack of colorful light flowing around their bodies. That was the special effect of dazzling gold equipment. However, these people were all dejected and looked exhausted. When they saw Lu Chen, they acted as if they did not see him and walked past with their heads lowered. Lu Chen blinked his eyes. This scene was completely different from what he had imagined. When he first arrived at level 2, although everyone was a newbie, they were all arrogant and thought that they were extraordinary. The village was also full of people. However, when he entered level 3, it gave him an especially oppressive feeling. There were no more than 10 people in the entire village who could see him. There was no sense of one side being the strongest from their faces. You have entered level 3. Some of your system settings will now be forcefully modified. Pain system, all pain senses will be forcibly turned on permanently. Limb refinement system, after the body is injured, it will no longer automatically recover. It will require rest or pills to repair. Permanent injuries must be healed with pills. At the same time, injuries will affect various attributes. Specific injuries will cause some skills to be unusable. Online system changes, after the player goes offline, the character will no longer disappear. Instead, it will stay in the game and will take all normal damage. Please note the location and time of going offline to ensure that the character will not be injured during the time of going offline. Attribute extraction, activating the attribute extraction function. The attributes you extract will affect the body's attributes in the real world through quantum entanglement technology. Level 3 has a limit of 100 for a single attribute. Increasing innate power can increase the limit. Lu Chen was really shocked this time. It did not matter to him that the pain senses were turned on. After all, he was already used to it. Limb refinement had already been reflected in some games, especially some Wuxia games. Therefore, it was nothing new. The most important point was the last point, attribute extraction. The 9 heavens domain finally revealed its true colors in the Earth 3 heavens domain. Oh my God, it's true. Lu Chen's brain short-circuited. Although he had been prepared for this result, it was still enough to shock him when the system confirmed it. For thousands of years, people had been pursuing supernatural abilities. But now, in the Jiutian, they had realized it. When this news was announced, there was no doubt that people would crazily rush to the third heavenly realm. This game had gone beyond the scope of a game. It was bound to change the fate of the entire Earth. Where can I extract my attributes? Lu Chen couldn't wait to try out this function. The system ignored Lu Chen's urgency and continued to send out notifications. Your military merit system has been activated. You have obtained more military merits. You can now exchange them for items such as extractable attribute points, temporary lower realm pass, cultivation methods, battle pets, equipment, resources, military ranks, and other items from the quartermaster. Lu Chen found that there was an additional button on his control panel, Military Merit. He clicked on it. Character, money can reach the heavens, Demon Lord's Eye, Tiger Courage and Dragon Might, Dark Moon Vanguard, Top Rank, Tiger Capture, Blood Pool Vanguard, Elite, Especially Strong, Especially Agile, Especially Muscular No Leader, First Transformation Demonized Boss, Black Barton. Character, Solipsistic, Military Merit, 0, Military Rank, Militia, Authorization, can exchange for items once every 10 days at the quartermaster. What the hell? Lu Chen shook his head. He didn't know why this military merit system appeared. From the moment Lu Chen appeared until now, he had been standing there in a daze for a few minutes. Most of the people around him glanced at Lu Chen and ignored him. It was as if they were used to newcomers acting like this. Lu Chen stood there like a wooden stake for a long time. Finally, after receiving the system's information, he felt as if he had regained his freedom and could move again. Hey, newcomer! A middle-aged man shouted from afar. Lu Chen looked up in surprise. It was a big man with a beard. He was wearing a set of gray and white clothes. His body was at least twice as strong as the people on Earth. His muscles were strong. Lu Chen guessed that if he stood up, he would be more than 2 meters. Beside him was a pile of bronze hammers that were faintly glowing. Dazzling gold weapon. His ID was, Militia Captain, Mountain Strength. Are you calling me? Nonsense, are there any newcomers here other than you? The man spoke as if he was very casual. Lu Chen looked around. Indeed, there hadn't been any newcomers for a long time. Coincidentally, Lu Chen also had a lot of questions, so he walked over. Have you finished receiving the system's notifications? Mountain Strength sat on a wooden stool. It really made people worry that the small wooden stool wouldn't be able to bear his well-built body and would sink into his anus. Look at your dazed appearance. You're not from a family or power, right? Lu Chen blinked his eyes. I'm not. That's true. Those people from big families wouldn't be assigned to a small place like ours. Lu Chen frowned. Aren't the teams that go through the second heaven together? Of course not, the third heaven is randomly born. However, some people in the third heaven will spend military merits to let their own people be born in their own area. Lu Chen nodded. The third heaven was indeed different. Since you've been assigned to me, you'll be my soldier from now on. Don't worry, your brother Shan will protect you. We can't compare to the big powers, but I won't let my people be bullied outside. Although Mountain Strength's words were a bit rough, he seemed to be a straightforward person. Kid, even if you hide your ID, at least let me know what you're called, Brother Shan said. Wuxia Nameless, Lu Chen replied. There are many people in the third heaven who like to be called nameless. However, you're Wuxia Nameless. Wuxia should be your hometown, right? I'll remember this name. Hey, Wuxia kid, what don't you understand? I'll give you 2 questions. I can only ask 2 questions. Lu Chen had a stomach full of questions. Alright, I've already used the first question. Let me tell you why I only have 2 questions. It's because there's still half an hour before those guys attack us. I don't have much time to talk nonsense with you. Mountain Strength's face flashed with a trace of decadence. I don't know if we can still hold them off this time. Damn it. Lu Chen narrowed his eyes slightly. A fight was about to break out. Was the third heaven really that strong? After wasting a stupid question, Lu Chen didn't want to waste another chance. After weighing the pros and cons, Lu Chen asked. Brother Shan, how do I earn military merits? Military merits? It's very simple. Just kill the enemy. The enemy. Who is it? Mountain Strength smiled. This is the third question. Forget it. Looking at how silly you are, I'll give this question to you. You still don't know, the third heaven, humans have already been defeated. Chapter 445. Lu Chen did not know how to react for a moment. Did Brother Shan use too much free software and watch a lot of advertisements? He actually knew this common phrase. After answering Lu Chen's 3 questions, Brother Shan stood up. This guy was about 2.34 meters tall, like a giant. He patted Lu Chen's shoulder. Follow me when the battle starts. Those guys are not easy to deal with. Don't underestimate them. They are like you, they have also defeated stage 2 bosses. Sigh. The human body is too weak in Jiutian. Lu Chen nodded blankly. He still did not understand the situation, so he decided to follow Brother Shan for the time being. There was less than half an hour before the attack, so Brother Shan gathered the players. Including Lu Chen, there were only 12 people. Brother Shan said briefly to everyone, Brothers, I know you are all very tired, but this is our last stronghold. If we lose this place, we will be homeless, so we must defend this place. The tired people nodded, as if they had no objections to this point. Alright, let's split into 2 teams. Sansheng, you will be in charge of one team, and I will be in charge of the other. Everyone, rest for another 20 minutes. After 10 minutes, we will enter battle mode. After Pulling Mountain finished speaking, he suddenly thought of something and added, Oh, right. Everyone knows that there is a newcomer here. Wuxia, Nameless. From now on, we will call him Nameless. Newcomers usually have to go through a period of confusion, so please take care of him later. Alright, everyone, hurry up. Time Realm. Lu Chen didn't even have time to introduce himself. After dispersing, some people came up to him. Hey, Nameless, what's your profession? A skinny man asked. Lu Chen thought for a moment. Archer. Archer. That's good. Later, you will hide behind and shoot arrows. Remember, do not rush blindly. Once they get close to you, immediately return to the defensive circle. In their eyes, we are not living creatures at all. They are very cruel. It turned out that those piles of rocks were actually a kind of array formation. Lu Chen looked back and found that if he looked carefully, there were indeed a few huge rocks that were placed in a very particular position. Lu Chen glanced at the skinny guy. His ID was Militia, Cutthroat, and he used 2 shiny gold daggers. Brother Monkey, are you a Grandmaster of Combat? Lu Chen directly called him Brother Monkey. Me? That's right, I'm a pugilist, but to be precise, I'm an assassin under the pugilist branch. Oh, there's no assassin in the second heaven, I need to change my class rune at the quartermaster. Monkey King was also quite enthusiastic. Since they were all pugilists, he was willing to take care of Lu Chen. He looked at Lu Chen. Hey, you archers also have 2 branches. One is called God E. Their attack, critical hit, and shooting speed are quite strong. The other is called Assassin. They changed from bows and arrows to hidden weapons. That class is very annoying. Lu Chen blinked his eyes. The third heavenly layer was even more detailed. Oh right, let me introduce you to everyone's classes. Brother Sean is also a pugilist. He's another branch called Heavy Shield. He's our #1 tank here. It's safer for you to follow behind him. Third Saint is a Talisman Array Master. He's a dual Talisman Array Master. The village's defensive circle was set up by him. Usually, he'll give us buffs. He can also use arrays and talismans to attack from behind. He's very powerful. The one in white over there, always with a sour face. He's called Chasing Cloud. He's a sword rider. His attack is very strong. Mei Nyang. She's the woman who's been flirting behind Brother Sean. She's a 5th string puppet master and can control 5 puppets at the same time. She's a big boss here and she's very interested in Brother Sean. Monkey King winked at Lu Chen with a, you know what I mean, look. Other than that, there was also Monk Ice Bear, Ice Prophet Frost Dance, Beast Tamer Ching He, Dwarf Firearms Master Big Beard, and the 2 pharmacists, the 2 brothers Heartless and Ju Ming. Lu Chen remembered everyone's class. Although there were only 12 people in this small team, the class was quite complete. There were tankers, attackers, support, healers, assassins, and archers. However, among these people, only Bullish Mountain was the militia captain. The rest of them were all militia. Monkey King, is it hard to get military achievements? You guys haven't been promoted. Monkey King shook his head helplessly and sighed. How can it be so easy to promote a military rank? You have to know that those guys you're facing are no longer wild monsters. They're also super strong in their world. The physique of humans is weak, so they're naturally at a disadvantage. Did you know? It's said that in the past, their second heaven was at purgatory difficulty. Think about it. How can they be weak if they can pass the second heaven of purgatory difficulty? If we didn't have a defensive formation, we wouldn't be able to protect this place. Lu Chen frowned slightly. Almost all of their enemies had cleared the second firmament of the purgatory level. Although Lu Chen was fighting Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary alone, he had to admit that an opponent at Master Spiritual Martial Apothecary's level was not something an ordinary person could defeat. Monkey King, Brother Sean said that humans have been defeated. What's going on? What do you mean what's going on? Isn't it just the literal meaning? Monkey King sat at the side and shook his head. There are a lot of foreign races in the third heaven. Humans are just the weakest among them. Relying on the support of some major human forces, although we haven't been exterminated, we're already in a precarious situation. Let me put it this way. The third heaven has unimaginable resources, secret realms, and opportunities. However, it's almost impossible for us to obtain them. Lu Chen's eyes suddenly lit up. A lot of resources and opportunities. These were his favorite. Why is it impossible for us to obtain them? Monkey King explained, it's not that we can't obtain them at all. It's just that the distribution is too little. Let me put it this way. The territory controlled by humans only occupies 1/10,000th of the third heaven. Some powerful forces can snatch a little, but it's very limited. What? 1/10,000th? That's too little. Lu Chen was shocked. In that case, humans were almost squeezed out of the third heaven. Hee, you still think it's too little? We're almost unable to hold on. It's said that the outside world has endless mountains and oceans. In some caves, there might be an immortal level skill book or immortal level equipment. Wild Boss will definitely drop immortal level items. I really want to go out and take a look. These opportunities can only be encountered by powerful races. They can also use these opportunities to become stronger and stronger. They're in a virtuous cycle. As for us, we're hovering on the edge of survival. Lu Chen finally understood the meaning of mountain pulling strength. From the looks of it, humans had indeed been defeated. At this moment, a little fox jumped down from the pile of rocks. It scuttled in front of beast tamer Qin He and chirped a few words. Qin He immediately shouted to everyone, "They're here. Prepare for battle." Chapter 446. Hua Xia brat, come here. Pulling Mountain shouted at Lu Chen, "Everyone, grab your weapons, quick." The enemy had come more suddenly than they had imagined. Everyone quickly entered a state of combat readiness and climbed up the mountain. Long-range fighters, stay here and attack. Close-range fighters, follow me. Before leaving, Pulling Mountain instructed Lu Chen, do not leave the defensive formation under any circumstances. Lu Chen nodded. He was also a little nervous. Because of the atmosphere and the expressions of the others, he couldn't help but feel nervous. This was the first time he had stood at such a high place and looked down at the world in front of him. The forest stretched as far as the eye could see. There was a small path outside the village that extended into the forest for a short distance before turning into the other side of the mountain. Was this the third layer of heaven? Speaking of which, were there monsters in the forest? However, according to Brother Mountain and Brother Monkey's words, even if there were, it wouldn't be his turn to fight. If he acted rashly, he might become the focus of the enemy's fire. Should he seek refuge with a big power? Lu Chen had two tokens in his hands. One was the VIP token given to him by Kan Sheng, and the other was the guest token given to him by Old Ma. If he was willing to go, no matter which one it was, it wouldn't be difficult to find a place to stay. However, Lu Chen still decided not to look for them. Whether it was the VIP token or the guest token, Lu Chen didn't like it. As it was his first time in the third layer of heaven, Lu Chen decided to mix around with Pulling Mountain's team and understand the environment first. A few long-range fighters stayed on the high wall, while the others rushed down with Pulling Mountain. On Lu Chen's left was Chasing Cloud, who always had a sour expression on his face, and on his right was the Prophet, Frost Dance. Both of them wielded dazzling gold weapons. Chasing Cloud wielded a set of 3 swords, while Frost Dance wielded a staff. Lu Chen also took out his weapon, the Abyss Dragon Crystal Bow. Chasing Cloud glanced at Lu Chen's black longbow. At least this brat's weapon was also a dazzling gold weapon. It was not bad. Kid, stand further away. Don't affect me. Chasing Cloud said coldly. Lu Chen frowned and glanced at Jueyun. Just as he was about to say something, Shuang Wu suddenly tugged at Lu Chen. Don't mind her. Jueyun has a bad temper. She's actually not bad. Just come over to my side. Lu Chen nodded and smiled. All right. You're an archer. I can give you a buff. Frost Dance raised her hand and gave Lu Chen a buff. Frost Arrow, the arrow deals additional frost damage and has a 10% chance of freezing the enemy. Lu Chen looked at it and said, wow, this buff is good. Thank you, beautiful. Frost Dance smiled. You're welcome. We'll all be comrades in the future, and we'll be together for a long time. At this moment, a sudden tremor came from the pile of rocks, and stones fell from time to time. Third Saint reminded in a deep voice, they're here. And they're from the Yao Beast clan. Judging from the tremors, the situation might not be good. The tremors are huge, and there might be strong enemies coming. Everyone, be careful. At the same time, the close combat team members below were even more nervous. Everyone stared at the corner of the village entrance. Not long after, at the corner, at a height of 40 to 50 meters, an extremely thick arm suddenly appeared. Immediately after, a huge creature appeared from the corner. Looking at this boss, Lu Chen could not help but take a deep breath. This guy was a white yeti with a height of 60 to 70 meters. Its entire body was covered in snow-white fur. Its arms extended past its knees, and its eyes were filled with ferocity. Behind it, there were more than 10 Yao beasts that were 10 to 20 meters tall. There were snow apes, earth apes, fire apes, and a few snow wolves. Was this the Yao Beast clan? Lu Chen frowned. This was clearly a boss. Compared to this creature, it wasn't hard to imagine how low the attributes of humans were. In front of such a strong enemy, it was no wonder that those super experts that had passed the second celestial stage would be beaten to such a state. Not good, the largest one is a captain-level expert. Chasing Cloud stared intently at the largest snow ape, his expression abnormally solemn. Damn it, I don't know if we can hold on this time. Lu Chen couldn't react. A captain-level boss? Was it a boss or a player? From what Ba Shan and the others said, it should be a player of another race. However, Lu Chen felt that this guy was a boss. Speaking of which, Lu Chen suddenly felt the same feeling that players had when they saw his wild monster form. Was that guy a player? A wild monster? A player? Fuck, as expected, sooner or later you'll have to pay for what you did. He also had times when he was mentally unstable. Speaking of which, if I use my wild monster form, I don't know if I can sneak in. Lu Chen was obviously not in the right state. In Frost Dance's eyes, his reaction was seen as too nervous. She hurriedly called out to Lu Chen, "Hey, Wuxia, nameless. Don't be affected by chasing Cloud. You have to believe in everyone. We can definitely hold on. If we feel that we're going to lose, then there's even less hope." Lu Chen came back to his senses and smiled at Frost Dance, "Thank you. Okay, I understand." The close combat team didn't dare to be too far away from the defensive formation. Firstly, if they couldn't hold on, they could temporarily retreat to the defensive formation. Secondly, the ranged attackers and healers were on the wall. Their mission was not to take the initiative to attack, but to block the enemy's attack. There were about a dozen Yao beasts on the other side. However, their bodies were too large, so they looked very powerful. Roar! The captain-level snow ape roared and let out a shocking roar, "Are you hungry? Tear them apart and charge." The other Yao beasts immediately followed and let out a long roar before fiercely pouncing over. Ba Shan frowned and angrily roared, "How arrogant! Mysterious gold immortal body! Vajra battle god possession!" Pulling Mountain's body suddenly exploded with a ring of energy. His body glowed brightly, increasing his HP and defense buffs. Immediately after, the image of a heavily armored war god appeared behind him. This was probably the effect of the Vajra war god's possession. His attributes and defense increased again. At the same time, the others in the team were also increasing Mountain strength's buffs. Ice robe possession. Frost Dance gave Mountain strength's cutthroat, Lady Charm's 2 meat shield puppets, and Qin He's close combat gilded black tortoise added ice armor. Iron armor formation. Impregnable defense formation. 3 saints added 2 more buffs. His formation had a group effect, so the close combat players could enjoy it. To be honest, this was the first time Lu Chen had participated in such a team leader. He had to admit that after such a degree of continuous stacking, Mountain strength became very tanky. It was also at this moment that the close combat players of the 2 armies collided, and the team battle officially began. Everyone was crazily attacking or healing. Lu Chen also aimed at a snow wolf. He was very clear about the wolf clan's innate skill, which was a critical hit. He didn't know if these wolf clan demonic beasts had such an innate skill as players. No matter what, the snow wolf's attack was still stronger than the apes. Killing it first was the right thing to do. But the moment before the arrow was shot, the eye of the god suddenly gave a warning. The warning range included the entire stone wall. The others didn't seem to notice this skill and were still attacking with all their might. This is... Lu Chen frowned. No, the enemy isn't just this few people. Someone is ambushing us. Lu Chen quickly held his breath and focused. If the opponent attacked, then he would use his strongest bow or the triple gate to try and block the attack. However, for a full 10 seconds, the warning was still there, but the attack still didn't come. Hiss. The preparation time is so long. Lu Chen's eyes widened. In a place like the third heaven, a skill with a preparation time of more than 10 seconds was definitely not a simple skill. The triple gate and the strongest bow might not be able to block it. All ranged players, someone is ambushing us. Get out of the way. Lu Chen suddenly roared. Several people on the wall looked at Lu Chen in surprise. Are you crazy? How could we not know if someone is ambushing us? Don't disturb the battlefield. Without our damage output, we won't be able to hold on. There's a defensive formation here. Don't panic. Continue to attack. Lu Chen was really anxious. These people didn't listen to him. Chapter 447. The enemy obviously knew that there was a defensive formation here, and this ultimate move of theirs was obviously meant to deal with the defensive formation. It was very likely that both the people and the formation would be destroyed. However, Lu Chen had just arrived, and no one believed his words at all. Lu Chen glanced at Frost Dance. She was still chanting some kind of ice-type spell. As an ice-type prophet, she was extremely important to control the situation. She couldn't be distracted for even a moment. On the other side, Chasing Cloud's eyebrows were tightly knitted. He kept using the sword manipulation technique to attack crazily. This guy's attack was quite strong, and his moves were very damaging. He and the firearm master Big Beard were the most important main damage dealers in the team. The Heartless and Heartless brothers were healing non-stop. The three saints used talismans and formations. As they attacked, they gave buffs to their own side and negative statuses to the other side. Qing He and Mei Yang were the two most tired people. Qing He was shooting with his bow and arrow, and at the same time, commanding two battle pets to fight. Mei Yang couldn't be distracted for even a moment when she was controlling the 5 lines. In the team, there were only 3 people who were really close combatants: Mountain Picking Strength, Throat Cutting, and Ice Bear. Other than that, there were 2 puppets and a black tortoise. The team's most important damage dealers, healers, and supports were almost all on top of the stone wall. Since his teammates weren't willing to listen to him, Lu Chen could only use force. Change the attack mode to full attack. The damage ratio was adjusted to the lowest, 1%. Universal annihilation, sky shaking. Lu Chen stepped on the stone wall. Fortunately, his damage ratio was adjusted very low. The stone wall wasn't destroyed, and these guys were all knocked into the air by Lu Chen. Damn, kid, what are you doing? What's going on? Kid, are you crazy? You'll die without a healer down there. This guy is a traitor. Counterattack recoil shot. The bearded man turned his gun and shot at Lu Chen. Golden Growler, kill him. Qing He quickly controlled another battle pet to attack Lu Chen. You. Ice Drill. Frost Dance could still forcefully use a skill when she was in the air. Her whole body was frozen, and she fell rapidly. You want to kill me? You're too early. Blade Storm. Chasing Cloud's 3 flying swords rapidly shot towards Lu Chen. It had to be said that these guys were very strong. While they were in the air, many of them could still make counterattacks. These skills were probably used specifically to deal with people in the air. Lu Chen was also depressed. He didn't expect this group of people to be so difficult to deal with. This increased the difficulty of his rescue. Universal annihilation, back attack. Lu Chen dodged the attack and appeared behind Big Beard in the blink of an eye. With one blow, he knocked Big Beard out of the warning range. Heaven and Earth annihilation, Earth Fisher. Back attack. The next target was Heartless Brother. Heaven and Earth annihilation, Heaven's Fall. Back attack. Mei Nyang and Qin He were also sent flying. Heaven and Earth Annihilation had an outstanding knockback effect, instantly killing 5 players. Unfortunately, Lu Chen could not use Heaven and Earth Annihilation's final move. The damage it dealt was too high. Lightless Heavenly Flame Pillar. A heavenly flame pillar suddenly appeared beneath Chasing Cloud's feet. Caught off guard, Chasing Cloud was momentarily stunned. Lu Chen appeared behind him with Night Flash, kicked his butt, and took care of another one. The most difficult one to deal with now was Frost Dance. She had already landed and could move freely. She had to be subdued in an instant. At this moment, Frost Dance took the lead. Frost Spell, Extreme Frost. The air around Lu Chen began to freeze. Lu Chen found that there was an additional debuff on his body. His attacks were continuously slowed, and some of his movement skills were imprisoned. At this moment, the enemy's big move that had been charging for a long time finally came. Lightning Pool. Countless lightning bolts instantly appeared in the sky, mercilessly bombarding the stone wall. Hundreds of lightning bolts connected into one, and thick lightning bolts continued to attack. Third Saint suddenly spat out a mouthful of blood. His defense array was instantly broken, and the stone wall instantly turned into ashes. The people who were knocked to the top of the wall by Lu Chen were shocked. This is a lightning-type heaven-level cultivation technique. It's the most unsolvable lightning type. That kid is really saving us. Not good, that kid and Frost Dance are still inside. Finally, someone reacted. Third Saint's bloody eyes widened. His arms drew the 8 trigrams, and he forcefully activated his technique. Heaven Patching Array. However, halfway through the technique, Third Saint spat out a mouthful of blood. Third Saint. Damn it, the defense array is broken. He is too injured, and the Heaven Patching Array can't be activated. Absolute Life hurriedly supported Third Saint and healed him. No, Third Saint's spiritual core is damaged. It will take time to recover. At this moment, a stone door suddenly appeared beside everyone, and a figure rushed out from the stone door. Lu Chen walked out with the heavily injured Frost Dance in his arms. At this time, Lu Chen's HP had been reduced by more than half. He had nearly 10 million HP, and only 2 million was left. Frost Dance's situation was even worse. Her HP bar was empty. The damage of this lightning pool was too fierce. Sure enough, this kind of long-channeled skill, once it was used, the damage would be off the charts. Frost Dance. Mei Nyang hurriedly took Frost Dance. Absolute Life, quickly take a look at Frost Dance. Lu Chen panted and said, she won't die. Xiao Min, come out. Beside Frost Dance, a pretty little girl appeared. It was Lu Chen's ghost pet, Xiao Min. Lu Chen estimated that Frost Dance couldn't withstand the lightning pool. At the critical moment, he let Xiao Min possess Frost Dance. Only then was she able to withstand the fatal attack. Please help me take care of Xiao Min. She has activated her death immunity skill and is very weak now. Frost Dance really didn't die, but she was too weak. She opened her eyes with difficulty. I'm sorry, this sentence was actually what everyone wanted to say to Lu Chen. The ranged players didn't have much HP. If everyone was in the range of the lightning pool just now, the result would be a complete wipeout. It was this newcomer who gave the warning in advance, but none of them listened. He was clearly saving them, but they all threw all kinds of skills at him. Lu Chen smiled. It's okay. Help me take care of Xiao Min. I'll go help Brother Mountain and the others. The ranged players all retreated from the attack range. The melee players were under pressure. Moreover, the enemy's strength wasn't as much as it seemed. Without further ado, Lu Chen opened his demon wings. A triple door passed through the lightning pool and floated in the air. Looking down, Mei Nyang's two puppets were no longer controlled and were already paralyzed. Mountain Strength, Frost Bear, Monkey Brother, and Black Tortoise were indeed in a desperate situation. The melee battle was even more shocking. In just a short time after losing the healer, the three people and one beast were covered in blood. Frost Bear's right leg was heavily injured and was unable to move. He was torn apart by several wild beasts and could only resist with all his might. Slit Throat was more agile, but it was also restricted by the enemy's back line. After a mistake, it was attacked several times and its HP dropped rapidly. Mountain Strength was in the most dangerous situation. He was fighting against the militia captain and a group of snow wolves. Although his HP didn't drop much, it dropped very quickly. Ah! Hurry up and run! Mountain Strength roared. Otherwise, we'll all die. The enemy has strong players. We can't hold them off. Let Third Saint and the others run. Hurry! Mountain Strength used AoE taunt. Captain! Slit Throat's bloody eyes widened as it stabbed at the snow ape. If we're leaving together. Frost Bear continued to use AoE defense. Buddha's armor. If we live together. If we die together. You want to leave? In your dreams. None of you can leave today, the snow ape roared. Chapter 448. Lu Chen narrowed his eyes. His luck was pretty good this time, as he had encountered Pulling Mountain's team. Although they were weak, they were much stronger than those big powers that schemed against each other. Just as the three people and one beast were about to be surrounded, Pulling Mountain suddenly realized that someone was healing him. He turned around and saw that the stone wall was still covered in thunderclouds and lightning. But then, he saw a large number of black dots flickering in the air. Whoosh! 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 A large number of black arrows instantly covered the battlefield. Minus 130,000, double critical hit, minus 120,000, double critical hit, minus 190,000, triple critical hit, minus 260,000, quadruple critical hit. In an instant, a rain of arrows covered the entire battlefield, but Pulling Mountain's team was unscathed. The surrounding beasts suffered horrifying damage. Their health bars plummeted, and a large number of beasts were even frozen. Lu Chen's surpassing shot didn't deal all the damage, because he knew that there was another guy hiding behind this group of beasts. Once he dealt full damage, that guy might not appear. If he left that scourge alive, he might not even be able to sleep soundly. The third heaven's logout mechanism had changed. Players could not log off when they logged off. Lu Chen could not help but think about it. Frost Arrow. Pulling Mountain was very familiar with his team's skills. This was Frost Dance's skill. Qin He's bow could often deal a freezing effect. It's Hua Xia. Cutthroat saw the figure in the air. Beside him stood a girl in green. Although Lu Chen's attack was not high, his shooting speed was extremely fast. A large number of arrows hit, and the surrounding beasts were all frozen. Lu Chen frowned slightly. That guy still hasn't come out. His attention was still on the guy who had activated the lightning pool. Unfortunately, there was no movement around him at all. Damn it, he's even more wretched than me. Lu Chen gritted his teeth. Little Green's level was too low. His healing effect was effective, but the close combat team was still in danger. No, I have to preserve my strength. If I don't deal with that guy in the dark, there will be endless trouble. Thinking of this, Lu Chen shouted to the close combat team, Brother Shan, Brother Monkey, Brother Bear, retreat. The trio also knew that if this continued, it would be difficult for them to win. Using the time that Lu Chen had bought, they quickly retreated with the gilded black tortoise and the two puppets, At night, the 12 members of the mountain-picking team, in addition to the 2 beasts and 5 puppets, had already been on the run for a few hours. They had already gone deep into the mountains. Deep in the mountains, the team hid in a cave. They blocked the entrance and stopped to rest for the time being. Everyone sat around the bonfire. The flickering light of the flames shone on everyone's faces. Everyone looked even more exhausted and disappointed. Although they managed to escape, they still lost their stronghold. Sigh. Pulling Mountain sighed, but it affected his wound again. Brother Shan, you're too heavy. I still have some regeneration pills here. Mei Nyang handed over 3 pills. She gave one to Li Baishan, one to Cut Throat, and one to Ice Bear. The injuries on Pulling Mountain and the others' bodies could not be healed by healing. They had to rely on pills. Pulling Mountain looked at Mei Nyang and the others. The others might have given them pills in the past. These were all exchanged with your military merits. What are you talking about? We're all in the same boat. Without you, we wouldn't be able to survive. That's right. Hurry up and eat. Rest well first. Without our stronghold, we might encounter more danger. Everyone needs to be in good condition. Lu Chen looked at the team's situation and had a general understanding of the team's financial situation. It seemed that the team's resources were already exhausted. I didn't expect that there would be such an expert in their team. He broke our defensive array with just a lightning pool. Third Saint sighed. Sigh, we were too careless. Speaking of the battle during the day, Frost Dance looked at Lu Chen again. Nameless, this time it's all thanks to you. If it weren't for you, we would definitely have died there. Lu Chen smiled slightly. We're all in the same team. There's no need to thank me. By the way, Wuxia, kid, how did you know that someone was attacking the defensive array? Big Beard suddenly asked. Lu Chen summoned the dark eye of the gods. An eye floated beside Lu Chen's shoulder. Dark eye of the gods. No, it's the dark eye of the gods. Damn, how did you get it? It said that this thing is almost impossible to make. Although it was a magic treasure at the first heaven, the dark eye of the gods was indeed very powerful. At the first heaven, the difficulty of making it could only be described as heaven-defying. About that, nameless brother, we attacked you before. We're really sorry, Qing, he said, embarrassed. It's okay. Your reaction was normal. It's understandable. Pulling Mountain and the others only found out later that Lu Chen had saved everyone. Speaking of which, Lu Chen had not only saved the ranged players, he had saved the entire team. He patted Lu Chen's shoulder and nodded approvingly. Nameless brother, I won't say thanks. In short, well done. Cutthroat laughed and said, I really didn't expect that we would be able to survive this time. It's all thanks to a newbie. Although Nameless Brother's damage wasn't very high, he was able to remain calm in the face of danger. This is already much better than most of the hotheads who have just arrived at the third heaven. We really picked up a treasure this time. You might not believe it, but I personally saw Nameless Brother kick Chasing Cloud's butt. Desperate Life also touched the pot that did not boil. What? For real? When Cutthroat heard this, he immediately realized that this was a hot topic. You dare to kick Chasing Cloud's butt? Brat, not bad. Chasing Cloud's face darkened. The handsome and cold him had actually been sent flying with a kick. After holding it in for a long time, Chasing Cloud finally said, cough cough, no one is allowed to speak of this matter. Otherwise, I'll kill him. Ha ha ha, when I think of Chasing Cloud getting kicked in the butt, I can't help but want to laugh. Sigh, I was only focused on fighting monsters at that time. I actually missed such a rare scene. What a pity. Ice Bear also joined in the fun. Hey, that's enough. And you, Nameless, if you dare to kick again. If you dare to do this again, I'll poke you into a sieve. The originally depressing atmosphere of escaping suddenly became better as they chatted. Lu Chen suddenly liked this feeling a little. A group of people were escaping, but they could still joke around and enjoy themselves. These people were actually very strong. As someone who had never had a true teammate before, it was not easy for him to experience team life. It was late at night, and everyone needed to rest. Everyone was already very tired, so the most energetic newcomer, Lu Chen, was the one keeping watch. Coming out of the cave alone, Lu Chen looked at the pitch-black forest in front of him in a daze. Was this the third level of heaven? What the fuck, they were forced to sleep in the wilderness on their first day in the third level of heaven. Now that they were in the territory of the human race, they needed to rush to the next human race stronghold. If a 10,000th of the human race's territory was already so big, then how terrifying was the map of the third level of heaven? This had already exceeded the concept of a game map. It seems a little difficult to walk out of the third level of heaven. Lu Chen sighed. Chapter 449. In the dead of the night, the mountain-picking squad had already gone through several battles. This escape allowed them to have a good rest. Lu Chen stared at the night sky in a daze. A figure quietly walked out from behind him. Nameless. Night watch must be boring. Lu Chen turned around. It was Xuan Wu. She walked to Lu Chen's side and sat down beside Lu Chen. Why aren't you going to rest? You've also received a heavy injury today. Yes, it's quite serious. I might not be able to participate in the battle for the next few days. Lu Chen smiled. Don't worry. Nothing will happen. Xuan Wu smiled and looked at Lu Chen. But I can give you a frost arrow. Lu Chen smiled. Hey, do you miss your teammates in the second celestial layer? Lu Chen thought for a moment. He didn't seem to have any teammates. The only thing he was worried about was Kuang Lang's friends. Yes, it's alright. After all, I've only been here for a day. But sometimes, I'm worried about them. Are you the leader? You can say that. I'm the leader, but I'm just a boss. Xuan Wu covered her face and laughed. Hee, I think you're quite responsible. You didn't leave any of us behind in the lightning pool. Even if you're not familiar with us, you still had to face our attacks. Lu Chen shook his head. There's competition everywhere in the Zhoutian. Naturally, we'll be on guard against others at the beginning. Sigh. Xuan Wu sighed. Humans claim to be smart, but they're actually the stupidest. After fighting for so long, we finally realized that in the eyes of the other races, we're nothing. Lu Chen looked at Xuan Wu. This girl's knowledge wasn't something an ordinary girl could compare to. Right, Xuan Wu, I heard that there's 5 great powers in the second celestial layer. Do you know what they are? You don't know. You're able to pass the second celestial layer. You really don't know about this? Lu Chen shook his head. Xuan Wu thought for a while and explained patiently, the 5 major forces are the Mu family, the Bei Shui family, the National Army, the Jingguang Temple, and the Hall of Reincarnation. Lu Chen blinked his eyes. If that was the case, then he might have some relationship with 2 of the 5 major forces. There was no need to mention the Wood Manor. From his interactions with Lu Chen gradually came to know that the Wood Manor was not an ordinary organization. As for the National Army, he didn't know if the National Yanran was one of them. Where's the Heart Refinement Courtyard? Didn't you say that the Heart Refinement Courtyard is also very strong? The Heart Refinement Academy is not a human force. You should have entered the Heart Refinement Academy when you were in the second heaven, right? Actually, the Heart Refinement Academy is spread across almost all the worlds. From the second heaven to the higher heaven domains, it is said that it is distributed everywhere. Xuan Wu said, actually, the higher the level of heaven domain, the more you will discover that Jiutian has many secrets beyond your imagination. The 5 great forces are the strongest human forces that I know of. However, I'm not sure if there are any other forces above them. Lu Chen nodded. He had the same feeling. But no matter what, in Lu Chen's mind, his understanding of the 3rd heavenly layer had deepened. Xuan Wu accompanied Lu Chen for a while. Seeing that she was too tired, Lu Chen let her go back first. Go offline and have a good rest. Xuan Wu smiled at Lu Chen. Oh right, there's one more thing I need to remind you. I've been in Brother Shan's team for a while. In our team, I can be sure that it's safe. However, if you meet a stranger, even if it's the same kind, you can't trust them easily. Things like going offline and resting should be avoided if possible. Anyway, resting in the game is the same. Lu Chen nodded. He was very clear about the nature of humans. They would take advantage of the situation and hit someone when they were down. He had to be on guard. The next day, when the sun had just risen, the boulder behind Lu Chen was gently moved away. Li Beishan and the others quietly came out of the cave. Hey, Nameless, let's go. Lu Chen nodded and looked back into the forest. That hidden expert really didn't chase after them. Under Li Beishan's leadership, the team walked through the forest. There seemed to be no pursuers behind them, and they were in human territory. The team members finally let out a sigh of relief. Leader, how far are we? Not far. The scholars team's territory is just ahead. We'll be there in another hour or so. How's the situation over there? Li Beishan shook his head. His place is definitely safer than ours. Among the surrounding villages, his place is the most developed. Last time, he told me that he already has 20 to 30 people under him. With 2 defensive formations, it's very safe. Cutthroat frowned. Then this time, we won't be recruited by him, right? Many teams are a bit. Anyway, it's not very fair. Li Beishan shook his head. Don't worry, I won't be recruited by him. I've known him for so long. I'll bring you guys to get some military points and see if we can take back our stronghold or build a new one. With Li Beishan's guarantee, everyone felt much more at ease. After more than an hour, everyone saw a village built against a mountain not far ahead. They couldn't see the inside of the village, but the surrounding walls were much more regular than Li Beishan's. The walls completely blocked off the area between the mountains. They were more than 30 meters tall and looked like the walls of a large city. It didn't matter if the village was destroyed or not, but the walls had to be strong. Just as everyone was about to head to the village, Lu Chen suddenly sensed something and shouted, "Wait! Don't move!" After the lightning pool incident, Lu Chen's words had more or less weight. Li Beishan looked at Lu Chen in surprise. Nameless, what's wrong? Lu Chen frowned and stared at the wall in front of him. Something's not right. Look at that wall. Half of the bricks are different in color. It looks like it was just built. Third Saint said, that's normal. Although the wall has a defensive array, it will still be damaged when attacked. We also repair the wall frequently. Lu Chen shook his head. Look at the shape of those bricks. Everyone turned to look. At such a distance, it was actually very difficult to notice. They could only see it clearly if they looked carefully. After observing for a while, Third Saint's eyes widened. He turned to Lu Chen and said, that area and shape. Lightning pool array? Lu Chen nodded. The lightning pool's damage area is roughly an oblong oval. It's about 200 meters long. The new bricks on the wall coincide with that area. Lu Chen's eyesight was extraordinary. In addition, he had personally experienced it. He had also passed through the lightning pool's area. Most importantly, darkness eye had clearly shown the skill's damage area. Lu Chen was even more familiar with this skill. The new bricks on the wall were lighter in color. Lu Chen noticed the difference at a glance. After comparing it to the skill, he quickly found something strange. Hiss. That means that this place was also attacked by that hidden expert. Pulling Mountain was shocked. Lu Chen nodded. It's very possible. I think that guy attacked this place first and then went to attack our place. I've been wondering why he didn't chase after us when we lost our stronghold. Now that I think about it, it's very likely that after he released the lightning pool, he was confident that our team would be defeated. So, he rushed to the next village. Everyone thought about it. This was indeed very likely. Then, should we go in and take a look? Big Beard looked at Lu Chen. Lu Chen said in a low voice, there's not a single person patrolling the wall. We also didn't encounter any sentries outside. If I'm not wrong, this place has already been conquered. D***it. Pulling Mountain punched the tree stump beside him. Even the scholar's village has been conquered. Have these beasts gone crazy recently? We have nowhere to go now. Chapter 450. Just as the team was discussing what to do next, Pulling Mountain received a telepathic message. I am the captain of the militia, Drawing Sword Scholar. The beasts are becoming more and more rampant. Today, they have taken over several villages in the periphery. My village has been taken over. Please gather the displaced people in the nearby villages at the following coordinates and discuss countermeasures. Everyone's hearts tightened. Indeed, this place had been taken over. From the looks of it, it wasn't just 2 villages that had been taken over. Other villages had also been attacked. Pulling Mountain looked at everyone. It seems that the beasts came prepared. They might be planning something. Let's go and meet up with the others immediately. The team quickly moved toward the designated coordinates. Half a day later, the team was already close to the designated coordinates. Before they could enter the area, they were discovered by other players. The sentinel seemed to recognize the team and jumped out to greet them. Brother Shan. You're finally here. Quick, we've been waiting for you. Come with us. Following the sentinel into the meeting area, Lu Chen realized that there were already more than 200 people here. According to the calculation of a team of 15 people, more than 10 villages had already been taken over. These people all looked haggard and exhausted. A large number of them were even injured. They looked like a group of defeated soldiers. After the Pulling Mountain squad arrived, Drawing Sword Scholar and the others immediately gathered everyone. Everyone, almost everyone is here. There's no time to lose, and we can't wait any longer. Drawing Sword Scholar went straight to the point. During this period of time, the beasts have sent experts to attack our stronghold. Everyone should have experienced it. There's a guy among the beasts who knows how to use lightning pools. He specializes in breaking our defense array. We've already investigated. That guy is at the level of a platoon. There was a commotion below. Among them, Lu Chen was definitely the most confused. Platoon leader. The kind with 2 stripes on his sleeves. Monkey bro, what's the level of a platoon? Lu Chen could only ask for help. Monkey bro patiently explained, Brother Shan is the captain of the militia, but there are several levels to captains. Brother Shan is a small captain. A small captain can lead a team of 30 people at most. Above that is a platoon leader, who can lead a team of 100 people. A platoon leader can lead a team of 200 people. Any higher, and you won't be at the militia anymore. You'll have a military rank. Lu Chen had a general understanding of the situation. In any case, a platoon leader was more powerful than a platoon leader and could lead more people. In order to become a company leader, one had to be at least the strongest among 100 people. These people who could pass the second celestial layer were not ordinary people. They were 1 in 100 among the strong, so their strength was naturally not weak. Brothers, no matter what conflicts or disagreements we have, now is not the time to pursue these matters. Sword painting scholar said, everyone knows that those high-level humans don't care about the lives of us militia. If we lose our stronghold, we'll be homeless. You can't even sleep at the third heavenly layer. Therefore, we must unite and defeat this demonic beast squad. Take back our stronghold. They have mid-level powerhouses, but we have the advantage in numbers, and we're going all out. We may not necessarily lose. The sword painter scholar's words hit the nail on everyone's head. The human experts wouldn't care about their lives. If they wanted to survive in the third heaven, they had to take back their stronghold. Lu Chen could hear the helplessness and bitterness in the players' words. Not only were they guarding the outermost area of the human territory, but they also had to fight back when they were attacked. It was indeed quite bitter. Alright, I'll have to trouble each platoon leader to calculate the situation of each platoon. How many people can fight, their professions, and their specialties. This time, we can only win, not lose. The scene was bustling, and Mountain Strength also reported the situation of each platoon. Not long after, Mountain Strength returned, shaking his head and sighing. Platoon leader, how's the situation? Ice Bear asked anxiously. Mountain Strength shook his head. It's worse than expected. Every platoon's injuries are very serious. Because of the lightning pool, almost all of the long-range fighters are heavily injured. Only our platoon is slightly better. The close combat fighters are also injured. We have 230 people, and less than 30 of them are fully recovered. As for those who can fight, 100 of them are at most dead. The situation was not optimistic. The meeting was still bustling, but at that moment, everyone suddenly felt the ground beneath their feet shake. Then, there was a rhythmic shaking. Boom, boom, boom. The shaking became more and more intense, as if a huge monster was approaching. Noticing this, many people's expressions changed. This is. They're here. They're here. A burst of wild laughter came from afar. Ha ha ha, how stupid. They actually gathered together. Are they afraid that we can't catch them all in one fell swoop? A giant beast pushed aside the surrounding giant trees and revealed a sinister smile. It was a giant ape. Its body was covered in rare blue fur, and it had 2 heads. It was at least 50 to 60 meters tall. Behind it, there was a terrifying army of monsters, mainly made up of giant apes and snow wolves. Each of them was so huge that it was like an army of bosses. Look at how small you humans are. You think you can get a share of the loot in the third heaven? Are you worthy? Mountain Strength glared at the giant thunder ape. Bastard, you're the one who injured Frost Dance. Ha ha ha, what's there to be surprised about? What's the big deal about injuring a human? In my eyes, you humans shouldn't have entered the Jiutian. I knew you would counterattack like mad dogs. Very well, this time, none of you here can escape. We're going to tear your bodies apart. Draw sword, come over. Your mission is complete. If the giant thunder ape's previous words only made people feel fear and despair, then its last sentence was like a huge rock that slammed into everyone's hearts. The initiator of this gathering, Drawing Sword Scholar, was actually a traitor. This is impossible. Captain, he's not that kind of person. A member of the scholar's team was stunned. Impossible? The giant thunder ape grinned, revealing its sharp teeth. For the sake of benefits, for the sake of survival, your captain has already surrendered to us. Look at how laughable you humans are. You're already the weakest race in the third heaven, and you're still so deceitful. TSK, TSK, TSK. A race like you should have gone extinct long ago. No, impossible. Many people were also roaring. Drawing Sword Scholar's betrayal was the greatest blow to them. Without a leader, the team's morale was completely gone. Everyone was doubting themselves. The team's combat strength was already low, and now that the battle hadn't even started, their morale and fighting spirit were already gone. Painted Sword, you tell them to give up completely. Drawing Sword Scholar was already on the side of the monsters. He looked at his compatriots and suddenly laughed. You're all stupid pigs. Think about how we're treated. Those so-called experts are hiding in the safest areas, while we're fighting with our lives on the outside. In the end, we're getting very little military merit. I've been in the third heaven for 2 years, and I've only been promoted to captain after 2 years. I can't even be considered a regular soldier. When will I have the chance to reach the peak and have the chance to go on a treasure hunt? When will I be able to step onto the path of defying the heavens again? Yes, I've betrayed you, but so what? The winner takes all. Today, you'll all die here. Not only will you die here, but you'll also be captured and beaten back to the second heaven. No one will know what I've done. Ha ha ha, wait until I'm in a high position, I'll naturally have a way to shut you up. This is power, this is strength. Stop struggling, all of you can die. There was nothing sadder than despair. After hearing Drawing Sword Scholar's thoughts, this team of 230 people, all of their hearts were dead. This kind of team no longer had any combat strength to speak of. At this moment, a calm voice sounded. I didn't expect that there would be such an idiot among the people who could reach the third heaven. A man wearing a red suit walked out and stood in front of the entire monster army. He looked at Drawing Sword Scholar. Haven't you heard of this saying? Those who aren't of our race are sure to have different intentions. You're going to join them. Do you think you'll have a good ending? Lu Chen pulled out his close combat weapon, the reverse water scale sword, and slightly lifted his chin to look at the giant thunder ape. You're really lucky. Actually, if you had appeared earlier in our village, would have finished you off. Lu Chen's lips curled up slightly. I didn't expect you to take the initiative to deliver yourself to me. Sigh, a beast will always be a beast. Your intelligence is worrying. Today, none of the monster beasts here can escape. These words were clearly said by the giant thunder ape, but they were perfectly copied and pasted by Lu Chen. Sansheng looked at that person in surprise, then looked behind him. He hurriedly said to Chasing Cloud and the rest, Hey, why aren't you watching that lunatic? He's trying to be a hero. Chapter 451. Lu Chen never liked to be in the limelight, but this time, since the giant thunder ape had appeared, he could and had to make a move. He had to stand at the peak of the third heaven in order to have a chance to reach the higher heaven domain. Behind him was a group of people who had lost all hope and fighting spirit. They looked up at that figure, but their emotions were not affected. What's the point of fighting? We can't win. So what if we win? What super expert? What all-powerful? In this place, we're just abandoned chess pieces. Militia? I relied on myself to get to where I am today, but I can't even be considered a regular army. What's the point of fighting? It was certain that these people who were born in the periphery did not have any background. In the first and second heavens, they created miracles and finally joined a top team. However, when they reached the third heaven, all their efforts were in vain. Heroes don't care where they come from. Ha ha ha, that's probably the most ridiculous thing. Without a background, it's hard to do anything. Brat, accept your fate and stop struggling. Everything is predestined by the heavens. The scary thing about a wavering army's morale was that it would spread. Lu Chen was full of fighting spirit, but the group of people behind him was pouring cold water on him. For a moment, Lu Chen felt like he was fighting alone. He was a little angry and shouted at the people behind him, Shut up. You used to be strong, but look at you now. Do you even have the slightest trace of being strong? That painted sword's betrayal caused you to be unable to recover. Without him, you can't fight. Did you all rely on others to reach the third heaven? Leng Chen looked at the crowd angrily. Speaking of background, he came from Earth. Not only did he have no background, but he also climbed up step by step from the bottom. On this path, Lu Chen could only rely on himself. Everything is predestined. Sorry, I have to tell you bunch of trash that my life is in my own hands. The Jiutian path is as difficult as ascending to the heavens. I want to see what's above the Jiutian. If someone blocks me, I will kill that person. If gods and demons block me, I will slaughter them. If the heavens want to block me, I will shoot through the heavens. If you don't dare to make a move, then scram. Don't get in my way. Lu Chen was really angry this time. In ancient times, those who disturbed the morale of the army would be punished according to military law. This was definitely not without reason. These people did not dare to make a move, but they were still chattering. Lu Chen naturally did not have anything good to say to them. Scram! Lu Chen shouted angrily. These people had long since lost their will to fight. Now that Lu Chen told them to scram, it gave them a chance to live. Many of them turned around and ran. In an instant, only a few people were left from the gathering of more than 200 people. Lu Chen shook his head. Perhaps they had been here for too long, and it was impossible to wake them up with just a few words. If he had to leave, so be it. He was used to being alone anyway, but at this moment, Lu Chen noticed that someone was walking towards him. Looking back, Lu Chen couldn't help but laugh. 11 familiar figures walked over reluctantly. In the face of an undefeatable enemy, they stayed. Mountain Strength stood at the front. He stared at the demonic beast army in front of him, his hands tightly gripping his big iron hammers. Mountain Strength seemed to be helpless. He laughed self-deprecatingly, "Motherfucker, nameless. Tell me, why are you trying to be a hero? I was still thinking of bringing our people to escape in the chaos. Now look, we have to fight to the death with the other side." Third Saint shook his head as he raised his hand to increase everyone's defense. Nameless. At first, I thought that you were especially smart. Now, it seems that I really have to reevaluate you. You are simply too stupid. It's fine if you fight by yourself, but you even scolded those people away. Do you want to fight the demonic beast army alone? Chasing Cloud's face was sour. He pinched his sword fingers, and 3 flying swords floated beside him. I already said that he was an idiot. You guys didn't believe me. Reality has proven that my judgment is still very accurate. This time, we might die more miserably. Will it be very painful? Sigh, isn't it just returning to the first heaven? Don't tell me you want to watch a lunatic get beaten up. Just in time to return to the first heaven and catch a few more babies. Beside him, Xuanwu tilted her head and looked at Lu Chen. Why are you using a sword? Where's your bow? I'll give you a frost arrow. Right now, my skill level isn't high, so I can only give the bow a buff. Lu Chen looked at this group of people who were cursing with their mouths, but their bodies were already prepared for a fierce battle. It was really annoying, funny, and a little touching. To them, this was an unwinnable battle. From their words, it wasn't hard to hear that they were even prepared to start all over again. Even though they knew that they would die, they didn't leave Lu Chen behind. One had to know that Lu Chen had only been with them for less than 2 days. Perhaps humans were selfish, but there was a group of people who weren't. Perhaps they were the legendary, fools, you bunch of fools. Lu Chen shook his head. We are fools. These words actually came out of your mouth. My God, you don't know your own limits. Alright, then you are a madman. Fools and madmen. Ha 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 ha, just right for a team. Lu Chen took a deep breath and nodded heavily. Yes, just right for a team. Mountain Strength tried to suppress his breath. Brothers and sisters, this may be our last battle together. If there's a chance to meet again, I hope you can still remember this useless captain. I don't think there's a chance to meet again. Returning to the first heaven will cause you to be punished by the heavens. It's good enough to be an ordinary person. Moreover, even if we rush to the third heaven, it's almost impossible for us to be together among the billions of humans. Anyway, this is the last time I see you. I have to say, Mountain Strength, you are really useless. Other captains monopolize the majority of the military merits, but you always take the smaller ones. If I were you, I would have been a squadron captain long ago. I agree with this point. Stop talking nonsense. This is the last battle. Bring out your best skills. After this battle, we will be separated from each other. Big Beard was already aiming. Lu Chen shook his head. As expected, you are a group of fools. You are actually saying stupid things. Can you, the most foolish and madman, not open your mouth? Almost everyone said in unison. It was now confirmed that Lu Chen's position in the team was the most foolish and madman. Of course, Lu Chen would not admit it. Lu Chen sighed. Forget it. No matter what he said now, these people would not believe him. The great Thunder Ape roared. Want to run? Brat, they can't run away. They are surrounded by my team. And you guys, since you are already prepared to die, very well, I will fulfill your wishes. Roar, tear this trash to shreds for me. The demonic beast army rushed over. The ground trembled, and the surrounding trees were destroyed in an instant. A mere team of 100 people was comparable to a human army of millions. They surged forward like a tide, unstoppable. In front of the huge tide, Mountain Strength's team was like a small boat, too weak to stand up to the wind. Mountain Strength's eyes were red. He roared, brothers, kill these beasts. Chapter 452. Are you trying to outnumber me? How naive. Lu Chen snorted. Originator, Furball, Tao Tai, Chaos. Lu Chen summoned 4 battle pets. Protect them. Lightless Flame Pillar. Black Coffin Realm. God of War Possession. Demon Transformation. None of the 4 opening skills were missing. Clones. Demon Clones. Demon King's Will, Refresh. Clones. Demon Clones. Su Ping created more clones as soon as his clones appeared. Counting Lu Chen's own clones, he had 35 clones in total. Ghost Shadows. 300 images of Lu Chen instantly covered the entire battlefield and moved quickly. All of a sudden, Lu Chen created thousands of clones, and the situation on the battlefield changed. With 42 combat units and a bunch of illusions that could confuse the enemy's judgment, Lu Chen seemed to have formed an army. How many clones does he have? The team members looked at this scene in shock. Why did that guy suddenly seem like a different person? All of a sudden, he used so many moves that they had never seen before. Isn't the lunatic an archer? What's going on? The lunatic has 4 battle pets. And 2 mythical beasts. Qin He, as a beast tamer, was shocked. He only had 3 battle pets and one of them was the gilded black tortoise. However, Lu Chen had summoned 4. As a matter of fact, Qin He didn't know much about Originator and Furball. Of the 4 battle pets, Chaos and Tao Tai were the weakest. With the help of the clones and battle pets, the team members would be safe. Lu Chen quickly moved toward the Thunder Ape. The Thunder Ape wasn't a boss. It had to be smart to come up with such a great plan to encircle and annihilate the human players. Qin He knew that Lu Chen had some tricks up his sleeves after seeing so many skills. Seeing that Lu Chen was close, the Thunder Ape quickly activated a skill. Thunder Shield. The Thunder Shield was like a small, lightning pool that was surrounded by lightning bolts. The Thunder Ape would be heavily wounded if it got too close. Brat, you still have a trump card? I've underestimated you. The giant thunder ape's eyes were cold. Very good, killing someone like you will give me a greater sense of accomplishment. Lu Chen could not be bothered with the great thunder ape's provocation and directly attacked. Triple Gate. Earth-splitting chasm. The two triple gates were interlocked, and the two passes changed the direction of the earth-splitting chasm. Even someone as strong as the great thunder ape could not predict this move and was hit directly. The thunder giant ape had extremely high Xianyuan resistance, and the earth-splitting chasm's level was indeed too low. The original 3 seconds of stun was reduced to 0. 5 seconds. Damn it, why are there so many variations in this low-level cultivation technique? The great thunder ape was fearless. Unfortunately, so what if I hit it with great difficulty? What can you do in 0. 5 seconds? You don't even dare to get close. Lu Chen coldly snorted. There are many things that can be done in 0. 5 seconds. Who says I don't dare to get close? Dark Night Shadow. With a displacement skill, Lu Chen rushed into the range of the lightning shield. Almost at the same time, Lu Chen was heavily injured by the lightning. Minus 500,000, lightning damage, minus 250,000, chain lightning, minus 250,000, chain lightning. A bolt of lightning quickly triggered the chain lightning effect and instantly took away 1 million of Lu Chen's HP, debuff, paralysis, 1 stack, attack speed reduced by 20%. Although the lightning shield was a shield, its concept seemed to be different from other shields. It used offense as defense, and used high damage and paralysis effects to prevent the opponent from getting close. It was a form of protection. In the triple gate, there seemed to be more elemental damage, and Lu Chen did not have any elemental resistance yet, so the 1 million damage was all absorbed. With the help of Lu Chen's doppelganger and battle pet, the pressure on Pulling Mountain and the others was greatly reduced. At this moment, they also had the time to observe the situation on Lu Chen's side. Seeing Lu Chen rush into the range of the lightning shield and lose 1 million HP in an instant, Pulling Mountain's eyes were filled with anxiety. Nameless. Quickly retreat. You can't force your way through the lightning shield. Damn it, that madman actually rushed into the lightning shield. Not good, there are too many monsters. We can't get through. In front of such gigantic monsters, the splitting effect of the doppelganger was actually very poor. In addition, these monsters were not simple monsters. They had intelligence that did not lose to humans, and their strength was not bad. It was not possible to kill them in groups. The illusions created by the layers of ghostly shadows did not have any attack power, and would be seen through sooner or later. Right now, Pulling Mountain's team was not under much pressure, but they were definitely not relaxed. They could not move around freely on the battlefield. Seeing that its opponent was heavily injured by the lightning shield, the giant thunder ape laughed wildly. Ha ha ha, you really are stupid. Close combat. I don't even need to move to electrocute you. But don't worry, I will definitely tear you apart with my own hands. The stun effect was about to end, and the giant thunder ape was already itching to try. Lu Chen coldly snorted. You're too weak. Your HP is dropping too slowly. I'll do it myself. Put him to death. With a whoosh, Lu Chen's HP bar instantly dropped by a large chunk. He had lost 20% of his HP, which was close to 2 million. The attack speed reduction caused by paralysis was completely negligible in Lu Chen's eyes. Dai could increase his attack speed by 80% in the initial stage. In addition to the 80% attack speed brought by madness, a mere 20% was completely negligible. Rapid attack. Fierce tiger descends the mountain. Just as the giant thunder ape regained its freedom, Lu Chen launched his real attack. Minus 930,000, double critical hit, minus 1,320,000, poisoned, minus 1,320,000, poisoned, minus 1,410,000, triple critical hit, minus 1,320,000, 10 consecutive hits, 30 consecutive hits, and not including the follow-up damage from being poisoned, Lu Chen had directly dealt 37 million damage. On the other side, Chasing Cloud was attacking when he suddenly saw Lu Chen's damage. The three flying swords almost went out of control. Damn, what kind of damage is this? 37 million HP per second. Big Beard put down his gun and stood there in a daze. This guy must be on drugs. How can a person deal such high damage per second? Lunatic, he's really a lunatic. The giant thunder ape had 53 million HP, and this attack almost instantly killed it. However, other than the damage, what was even more terrifying was the passive effect of the 10 consecutive hits. Stun, silence, slow, pure spirit burn, poisoned. Lu Chen was still being bombarded by the thunder shield, and his HP was rapidly decreasing. However, Lu Chen did not care about the 1 million damage per second. Taking advantage of the giant thunder ape being stunned, Lu Chen sneered. Now you know what 0.5 seconds can do, right? Roar. No. Impossible. You, what kind of thing are you? Why is your damage so terrifying? Impossible. A normal attack had completely emptied the giant thunder ape's 50 million HP. I still have a heaven tier skill. The giant thunder ape's huge body slowly tilted. It was as if it had died with its eyes wide open, unwilling to die. Lu Chen coldly snorted, heaven-level cultivation method. What's the use of a heaven tier skill that can't be used? Spreading his wings, Lu Chen looked at his teammates. Hey, you guys, hurry up. Pulling Mountain Strength was speechless. You brat, you're not coming to help us. Lu Chen smiled. If you don't want so many military credits, then I'll take them all. Are you sure you don't want it? Lu Chen's words had indeed hit the nail on the head. With his clone and battle pet, Pulling Mountain Strength and the others were slowly killing the militia beasts. This was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to earn military credits. With the strength that the brat had just displayed, if he were to come down, they would probably have nothing to do. Wait. Lunatic, you must be tired. Hurry up and rest. Leave this to us. Chapter 453. In Lu Chen's eyes, the hundreds of beasts in front of him were just some military achievements. He did not care about these military achievements, but to Pulling Mountain and the others, it was a huge fortune. Although he did not attack, Lu Chen still stopped on a tree and observed the battlefield. As a team with good teamwork, Pulling Mountain and the others followed closely behind the doppelganger and the four beasts. Now that the beasts were without a leader, they gradually began to show signs of fatigue. However, Lu Chen was not paying attention to their battle, but the reactions of the beasts. When these beasts could not win, they would run away and cover for each other. They would also be angry, fearful, and panicked because of the death of their comrades. They were the same as Pulling Mountain and the others. They also had the prefix militia above their heads and some characters that Lu Chen did not recognize to form their IDs. Lu Chen frowned. Although they were not humans, they were definitely not monsters. They were real players. For some reason, Lu Chen felt a strange feeling in his heart. It was as if he saw himself. After a while, Lu Chen shook his head and laughed at himself. What are you thinking? You only have the appearance of a beast. Of course, you are still human. In the third heaven, the beasts are probably not the strongest. We will probably see more of them in the future. After fighting for a few hours, Pulling Mountain and the others were exhausted. In the end, they killed more than 30 beasts, and the other beasts fled for their lives. The beasts' corpses were like the corpses of monsters, and they quickly turned into dots of light. Frost Dance said that if they revived after death, they would be severely injured. If their injuries were too severe and could not be healed in time, their strength would fall to a certain extent, and they would even be demoted to the second heaven. Some players who were tortured to death would even be demoted to the first heaven and start from scratch. In the evening, the team gathered around a bonfire to recover their strength. After some free time, everyone finally had time to digest the situation of the battle during the day. Hey, crazy. Crazy, you, what is going on with you? Cutting Throat pulled Lu Chen to the bonfire. My god, your damage per second is over 30 million. Even those with high military ranks might not be able to deal such terrifying damage. In reality, Lu Chen's DPS was over 200 million. However, there was no need to be so exaggerated when killing a party leader. That's right. Nameless bro, what's your background? Tell me honestly. I don't believe that you have no background. Didn't you say you were an archer? Why are you so strong in close combat? I've never seen someone with such high damage and such fast attack speed. Hey, did you guys notice that Lunatic's attacks are almost all critical hits, and they also have stun, lifesteal, pure spiritual energy burning, silence. Oh my god, I can't even keep up with that passive. Madman, your poison damage is 1.3 million. That's impossible. Are you still a poison master? Lu Chen felt like his head was about to explode. This group of people was like a group of curious children, asking questions one after another. He simply didn't have the time to listen. It was obvious that Lu Chen's small demonstration of his skills had already shocked the party to the extreme. Everyone had too many questions in their hearts. Lu Chen raised his hand. Hey, can you guys be quiet for a moment? So noisy. Yes, everyone be quiet and listen to Lunatic's explanation. Lu Chen was speechless. He didn't intend to explain. Looking at everyone's pleading eyes, Lu Chen shook his head. Forget it, I'll just explain a little. You guys have too many questions. I'm too lazy to explain so much. I'll just answer 2 questions. The group looked at Lu Chen anxiously. First, I really don't have a background. Although I know some people with backgrounds, I'm just an ordinary player. Second, why is my attack so high? Well, although I treat you guys as friends, this is my secret. You just need to know that we're teammates. The group of people almost vomited blood. Lunatic, what kind of explanation is this? Pulling Mountain thought for a moment and said, everyone, don't ask anymore. Nameless is right. In fact, we all have our own secrets. Even the best of friends need their own space. Everyone knows how dangerous the third heaven is. None of us are holding back. As long as we can fight with all our strength at the critical moment, why do we need to ask Lunatic about the source of his strength? As comrades, we only need to know the upper limit of each other's strength. When we face the enemy in the future, we will know. We don't need to ask about anything else. Everyone naturally understood this principle, but they were too curious just now. Yes, Brother Mountain is right. Nameless, we were rude just now. Lu Chen smiled slightly and didn't take it to heart. This topic was temporarily over, and Lady May brought up another matter. Lunatic, why didn't you attack when the goblin beasts were running away? At that time, we were already exhausted. You could have killed all the remaining goblin beasts. This was a question that everyone wanted to ask. Lu Chen shook his head and said thoughtfully, They're about the same as us. They're probably not worth much points. Their captain has already been killed by me. They won't be able to cause any trouble in a short period of time. I'm also tired and can't fight anymore. Lu Chen was indeed not in a good state at that time, so everyone didn't pursue the matter. Alright, we're done fighting. Captain, let's take a look at our points. Qing, he said impatiently. The group of people perked up again. Lu Chen was also very curious and went over. As the captain of the militia, Pulling Mountain had an additional team points distribution system. He pushed out the system panel so that everyone could see it after it was enlarged. 1 killed 32 goblin militia, 1 small captain, and 1 medium captain. That's a total of 34. Militia gets 1 point, small captain gets 3 points, medium captain gets 10 points. Let me look at the damage ranking. The first is Lunatic. Damn, 83% of the total damage. Lu Chen was dumbfounded. How did he get 83%? He had only killed the giant thunder ape and had been watching the show, pretty much. 3 Lives nodded and said, I saw it very clearly from the back row. Lunatic's doppelganger's damage was off the charts. His 4 battle pets were also very strong, especially that rat that could grow bigger. If Lunatic didn't shout that we shouldn't leave the team, I think that guy would have jumped into the crowd of goblin beasts. That guy's attack style is terrifying. Little Furball was called out again. There was no helping it. That guy was indeed fierce, so the damage from the doppelganger and battle pets is also counted as mine. Lu Chen was a little surprised. Pulling Mountain said, it's still the same old rules. The healer gets 10% of the points. Heartless gets 5 points. The others get the points according to their damage output and damage taken. Lunatic's damage output and damage taken are both number 1. His contribution to the team is around 80%, so he gets 5 points. With the remaining 8 points, there are 9 of us, so each of us gets 1 point. No problem. This is the first time we got 1 point in one go. Lu Chen frowned slightly. They had fought for so long, and they only got 1 point. That was too little. Don't split it like that, Lu Chen suddenly said. I'll take 10 points from the medium captain. You guys split the rest. Chapter 454. Lu Chen did not care about these points. His original intention was to let Mountain Strength and the others earn more points. Naturally, he would not snatch it from them. After a few rounds of evading, Mountain Strength was unable to persuade Lu Chen. In the end, Mountain Strength and the others each received 3 points. Oh right, where's that guy? Cutthroat suddenly asked. Lu Chen said indifferently, he ran away. That kind of person is used to changing the rudder according to the wind. You saw it? Then why didn't you stop him? Lu Chen smiled. Killing him won't even give us any points. What a waste of time. Don't worry, he'll only suffer more if he's alive. Soon, he'll know what it means to be a pig in the mirror. He's not human anymore. 3 Lives nodded. That makes sense. Everyone who participated in the gathering ran away. That means that his matter will spread very quickly. He'll be labeled a traitor, and the monsters won't be nice to him. Lady May said worriedly, that's right, but I'm afraid that he'll do something extreme. A villain has his own methods. Mountain Strength took a deep breath. Indeed, we have to be wary of this kind of person. Lu Chen smiled faintly. I still hope that he can stir up some trouble. Otherwise, the order of the 3rd layer of heaven is too stable. I don't care how it was in the past, but since I'm here, the 3rd layer of heaven should change. It turned out that Lu Chen had deliberately let the sword painter scholar go because he had other plans in mind. Lu Chen's domineering attitude infected the members of the team. Perhaps the moment this newcomer appeared in their village with a dumbfounded expression, their fate and even the fate of the entire 3rd heaven would be rewritten. Oh, right. Brother Shan, do you know about the Heaven's Punishment Tower? Lu Chen suddenly asked. Heaven's Punishment Tower? I think I've heard of it, but I don't know where it is. Madman, why are you asking about the Heaven's Punishment Tower? Chasing Cloud asked. I have a friend who's trapped inside. I'm going to save him. Chasing Cloud, do you know where the Heaven's Punishment Tower is? I see. I don't know. Ever since we came to the third heaven, we've been in the periphery. We haven't had the chance to come in contact with these things. If you want to find it, you have to go to Ink City. Mo City? Yes, Mo City is the nearest large human city. Perhaps there are people there who know. Lu Chen nodded. Everyone looked at each other before looking at Li Bashan. Li Bashan hesitated before saying, "Madman, if you don't mind, we'll go with you." Lu Chen looked at Bashan in surprise. "Are you guys going too?" Mountain Strength said, although Painted Sword betrayed us, he was right. Now that the village has been destroyed, it's time for us to make a move. That's right, I don't want to stay in that lousy village for the rest of my life. Madman, we'll go with you. The few of us actually have some strength. Besides, it's your first time here, so we can at least be your guides. If you want to be promoted to a militia captain, you have to pass the test there first. We have been to Mo City a few times. Lu Chen smiled. That's great. Let's go to Mo City. 2 days later, Lu Chen's team of 12 arrived outside a large city. Lu Chen could see this majestic Mo City from afar. The city walls alone were tens of meters high, and there were soldiers patrolling the city walls. It was similar to a main city like Lingxiao City. The gate of Mo City was probably 30 meters high, and there was an endless stream of people coming and going. At the gate, there were 20 to 30 people wearing soldier badges who were interrogating the people entering and leaving. They're actually going to be interrogated? Lu Chen was surprised. Although the players had all kinds of equipment, this felt a little like the ancient cities of Wuxia. Of course they're going to be interrogated. Some of the mutated races have the ability to disguise themselves. In order to prevent them from sneaking in, the soldiers will carefully check everyone who comes to Mo City for the first time. Lu Chen suddenly stopped. That's not right. If that's the case, these guys won't find out my true identity, right? How do we investigate? Lu Chen was a little flustered. Cutthroat put his hand on Lu Chen's shoulder. Just show us your divine aura or demonic aura, because the innate powers of the mutated races are often different from humans. Lu Chen thought for a while. Back then, the tiger serpent seemed to have used dragon aura. At that time, he was still puzzled as to why that guy's innate power was dragon aura. It turned out that the innate powers of the mutated races were different from humans. There were good and bad people. One could become a god or become a demon, but one could not escape from these two. When the time came, he just had to show off his divine aura to pass. As expected, when it was Lu Chen's turn, the soldiers asked him to show off his innate powers. Lu Chen casually showed off his immortal body divine aura and passed. Luckily, he only showed off his divine aura and did not actively use heaven-burning divine aura. Otherwise, many people around would have been in trouble. But then again, although Lu Chen's level 2 immortal body divine aura was higher than many people's extreme mortal body divine aura, it did not attract much attention. From this detail, Lu Chen guessed that there were probably many people in the level 3 heaven who had level 2 innate powers. After entering Mo City, Lu Chen felt like a country bumpkin entering a city. Good heavens, this city was even more crowded. Players wearing different styles of equipment shuttled through the streets and alleys. It was too much for the eyes to take in. There were also people who bought or rented shops in Mo City to sell their goods and help others refine pills and equipment to earn some extra money. The entire Mo City was packed with people. It was very lively. It was his first time in Mo City, so Lu Chen casually looked at the shops. Li Bashan and the others were not in a hurry. Some resources could not only be exchanged from the quartermaster. It was very difficult to obtain military merits. As long as it could be bought outside, it would be more cost-effective to use gold coins. Passing by a herb shop, Lu Chen suddenly froze. He casually summoned Louis. Little Green, didn't you want to increase your alchemy level? Buy more herbs. You can slowly refine them yourself. Okay, boss. See what materials you need. I haven't learned alchemy, so I don't understand those herbs. Okay. There were many herbs in the shop that Lu Chen did not recognize at all. He could only follow behind Louis. Li Beixian and the others also followed behind Lu Chen and whispered softly. Madman's woman knows alchemy. What kind of pet is this? I've never heard of it. Why do I feel like this guy is a nouveau riche's keeping a mistress? Louis immediately found the herb she needed. Boss, I want to buy some of this draconic tongue grass. Buy. Boss, how much is this? Lu Chen said without hesitation. 100 gold coins per stack. One stack is 100 grams. Little Green, do you think this price is suitable? Louis nodded, it's cheaper than what I know. In the past, we sold it more expensive than him, it's good that the price is not a problem. Boss, how many stacks do you have? The boss was already frightened by Lu Chen's attitude. He hurriedly came out from behind the counter and said politely, let me check my bag. I have 100 stacks here. Don't tell me you want all of them. Only 100 stacks. I want all of them. Little Green, continue to choose. Choose more. Ice Bear frowned and looked at the guy in front of him who squandered money like it was dirt. Damn, that guy is a nouveau riche. He doesn't keep a low profile at all, this guy, is he that rich? He doesn't even blink when he spends 10,000 gold coins. Speaking of which, what kind of pills can the draconic tongue grass be refined into? Do you know about absolute life? He can make a lot of it. I looked at the other ingredients Little Green wants. She's probably going to make regeneration pills. No way, 1 military merit can only be exchanged for 3 regeneration pills. This is the ingredient that can make the regeneration pills. Zhu Ming nodded and then shook his head. The ingredients are correct, but you can't say that you can refine the regeneration pill just because you have the draconic tongue herb. Alchemists are very dependent on talent. Regeneration pills can be refined as long as one is a 7-star alchemist. However, the success rate is very low, and the effects are uneven. Sigh, being an alchemist costs too much money. No way, then. Little Green can make it. If she can really make it, Madman will be rich. Chapter 455. They went to a few medicine shops and went on a shopping spree. Little Green's backpack was filled with medicine. A single immortal pill could increase 1,000 points of spiritual energy. Who knew how long it would take to cultivate? Although it was impossible for Little Green to make immortal pills now, with Little Green's talent, Lu Chen would naturally spare no effort to nurture him. He did not care about spending a few 100,000 gold coins. After that, Lu Chen bought some second-turn mixed energy pills and blood pills. He did not actually use many of these pills. 100 or so pills would probably last him a long time. Mountain Strength and the others also bought some supplies. After purchasing, everyone headed to Mo City's army camp. The average person in the city is not much better than us. We still have to ask the people in the army. They are more experienced and knowledgeable, Mountain Strength explained. After walking for a short distance, everyone saw a wall in front of them. There were many people surrounding it. What's going on? Today is not the day of the test. Why are there so many people? Cutthroat asked curiously. The army camp was the most important part of Mo City. It took up almost a third of Mo City. It was surrounded by walls, forming a city within a city. In Mo City, where every inch of land was worth its weight in gold, such a large area was given to the army. It was obvious how important the army was. Brother Mountain, does the third heaven mean that everyone is a soldier? Lu Chen suddenly thought of this question. Mountain Strength nodded. Yes. As long as you enter the third heaven, the system will assign you a military rank. The higher your military rank, the more frequently you can exchange for items and the better the items. In the third heaven, military rank is a synonym for status, and strength. Even those who do business in the city have military ranks. They collect resources and sell them in order to increase their strength. 3 Lives added, it's not just us. It's the same for the other races. Frenzy, you can basically understand that the third heaven is a world where all races fight. Lu Chen nodded. I see. Then how do we enter the fourth heaven? It's still the Skysplit Tower, but, the Skysplit Tower is a place that all races fight for. Now, it's the Sky Demon race's territory. Their people can enter the tower as they please, but the other races have to go through their blockade before they can enter the Skysplit Tower. Chasing Cloud shook his head. Not only do we have to deal with the Sky Fiend race, but the Skysplit Tower is actually located in the middle of the Myriad race battlefield. With the humans' present strength, unless all the powerful factions join forces to escort us, we will be surrounded before we even reach the Sky Fiend race's territory. Frost Dance also sighed, Nameless, didn't you ask me about the situation of the 5 major forces? No matter how they fight, there is an agreement between them that the 5 major forces will definitely abide by. Agreement? Lu Chen looked at Frost Dance strangely. That's right. Every half a month, the 5 great forces will organize a martial arts competition to choose the strongest person. After 2.5 months, they will form a small team of 5 people. After 3.5 months of training, the 5 great forces will join forces to escort them into Tong Tian Tower. Only 5? Yes, the third heaven of Tong Tian Tower is a 5-man dungeon. In other words, only 5 people can attempt it together. The third heaven domain boss was definitely stronger than the spiritual martial apothecary, but only 5 people could attempt it. Even if they entered Tong Tian Tower, the difficulty of the dungeon would be much higher than the first or second heaven. Then can we participate in the martial arts competition? Ice Bear nodded, yes, the martial arts competition is open to all human players. As long as your military rank reaches the titled marshal, you can participate. Lu Chen was shocked. Titled marshal. Mountain Pulling Strength had been in the third heaven for more than a year and was only a small militia captain. How long would it take for him to reach the rank of marshal? Lu Chen had a rough idea in his heart. The third heaven of Tong Tian Tower was located in the Myriad race battlefield where the battles were the most intense. It was a place that military strategists had to fight for, and the competition was extremely intense. Every race did not wish for other races to enter the higher heaven domain. They would think of ways to prevent other races from entering Tong Tian Tower. If they wanted to enter Tong Tian Tower, they would have to break through many obstacles. With the decline of the human race, just getting close to Tong Tian Tower was extremely difficult. Unless several major forces joined forces to help, it would be as difficult as ascending to the heavens. In order for several major forces to join forces to escort them, the prerequisite was to obtain first place in the martial arts competition. If people from other races wanted to participate in the martial arts competition, they would have to reach the rank of titled marshal. There were 2 conditions to increase one's military rank. One had to reach a certain number of military merits and pass the corresponding military rank test. This seems a little troublesome. Lu Chen shook his head, forget it, let's save Mu Xian first. As they spoke, the group had already arrived in front of the military camp's city wall. There was a long queue in front of the city gate. Mountain Pulling Strength asked around, and indeed, they were here to participate in the advancement test. There's a notice over there. Let's go take a look. Monkey King's eyes were sharp. He noticed a notice on the city wall, and the group gathered around it. Recently, the demonic beasts have been rampant and have frequently launched sneak attacks on our surrounding villages. In order to deal with the strange movements of the demonic beasts, the Mo city garrison has activated the following emergency measures. 1. The military rank test that is held once a week will be changed to once every 2 days. 2. The cooldown for the redemption of the quartermaster of the regular army will be reduced by 50%. 3. The Mo city garrison will provide 20% military merits for the redemption of military merits for the regular army soldiers. 4. The small teams that have lost their strongholds will be temporarily incorporated into the militia, and will be stationed in the temporary camp outside Mo city. However, they will not enjoy the benefits of the regular army. Damn, the benefits of this measure are all for the regular army. Big Beard was rather dissatisfied, they're only letting us live outside the city. If the demonic beasts attack, we'll just be cannon fodder. They're giving all the benefits to the regular army, and they're still using us as cannon fodder. How disgusting. Mountain Pulling Strength shook his head, otherwise, why would so many people rush here to take the test? If you want to develop in the third heaven, you have to first become a regular army soldier. Not long after, Mountain Pulling Strength found a soldier guarding the city. Old Mountain. That person saw Mountain Pulling Strength and warmly welcomed him. Old 5. Mountain Pulling Strength also smiled. That's Brother Shan's former teammate. Cutthroat introduced him to Lu Chen from behind. Brother Shan takes care of us too much. Many of his teammates have mixed into the regular army, and he's even a small team leader. Lu Chen smiled slightly. Looking at the way Mountain Pulling Strength was distributed, it made sense that his leveling was slow. After Mountain Pulling Strength and 5 Mountains and Storms chatted for a while, he asked about the Heaven's Punishment Tower. Heaven's Punishment Tower? Old Mountain, why are you asking about this? 5 Mountains' tone became somewhat serious, and his eyebrows were tightly knitted. He looked at Mountain Pulling Strength in astonishment. That place is not a place where ordinary people can go. Mountain Pulling Strength did not elaborate and asked, I'm just asking. Old 5, is there anything special about that place? Of course it's special. 5 Mountains said, the Heaven's Punishment Tower is a forbidden area. The people locked up inside are not simple people, and there are even level 4 heavens. What? Level 4 heavens? Yes, the Heaven's Punishment Tower has a total of 9 floors, and each floor is guarded by a super strong boss. From the moment you enter the Heaven's Punishment Tower, you will have to endure a strong Heaven's punishment, whether it's the people locked up there or the people who trespass into the Heaven's Punishment Tower. Under those circumstances, even an army would be completely annihilated if they went in. Hiss. What kind of Heaven's punishment? Mountain Pulling Strength asked. I heard that there was once a marshal who could not tolerate his lover being tortured by the Heaven's Punishment Tower. He entered the Heaven's Punishment Tower to save her. That marshal's HP was about 10 million, but he did not last more than 30 seconds. What? A marshal could not last more than 30 seconds? Yes, that was the first floor. The higher the floor of the Heaven's Punishment Tower, the stronger the Heaven's Punishment Tower. On the side, Lu Chen was silent. The place where Mu Xian was locked up was the 9th floor of the Heaven's Punishment Tower, but that was not what he was concerned about. As long as one was in the Heaven's Punishment Tower, they would be punished by the Heaven's Punishment Tower. That meant that Mu Xian had been tortured for months. You're tuning into the Han Li's Wuxia Adventures YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.